There's a bigger picture to be found, a wider viewpoint. There's more than one side to every story, and you'll find so much more with ABC News Online. Around the world and from wherever you are, get a bigger picture of the stories that matter to you with explainers, live blogs and analysis. Your news, your way, every day from Australia's most trusted news source. Download the ABC News app or head to ABC News Online.
ABC Sport.
This is ABC Sports coverage of the 2023 AFL Premiership season.
Arcs out to the right, steps on goal, superb finish. Turns, whacks it straight through the middle. Pulls the trigger on goal, and goes bang! 'Cause here it comes, AFL.
On ABC Radio, ABC Sport Digital, and now streaming on the ABC Listen app. Look for the AFL button.
Something big is coming, I know.
It's win or go home for the Western Bulldogs. They must win tonight to keep their season alive and force the Giants to eliminate them tomorrow with a win over Carlton. For only the second time in 17 seasons, Geelong won't be playing finals, and we'll get to have a look at some of their younger players here tonight. Welcome inside the Grandstand AFL broadcast booth. Ben Cameron and Jess Webster to call all of the action tonight. Brendan Goddard, the AFL 300 gamer, and Luke Ball, the Collingwood Premiership player, are here to tell us how it's all unfolding out on the ground tonight. We don't have long before the start. Bally, great to see you. What are you expecting tonight between the Bulldogs and the Cats?
Thanks, Benny. Yeah, rare dead rubber, isn't it, for the Cats from their point of view, but still plenty to play for. I was chatting to Jess off air then, and looking at their team, there's still enough experience and quality out there, I think, that if the real Bulldogs don't turn up, I think the Cats can cause them some trouble tonight. I expect to see Dangerfield play forward a bit more. Clearly, they're very much down on manpower in the front 50, the Cats, so I expect to see Dangerfield down there a bit more, I think, to help them try and kick a winning score. But surely the Dogs respond. Surely we get a response. You know, regardless of whether they're playing for a final spot or not, their performance last week needs a response, and so we expect to see that tonight.
Brendan Goddard, you're a bit of a Geelong specialist here on Grandstand AFL this year.
The
Western Bulldogs
drive down the freeway.
Yeah, wouldn't go as far as love, but it's great to be here again.
Was that not sarcastic?
Yeah, no, I got the sarcasm. Yeah, sorry. Maybe not. But anyway, the Dogs, it would have been a hellish week for them at the kennel at Whitten Oval during the week, wouldn't it, after that loss to the West Coast Eagles. How do they try and turn that around tonight?
Well, I think I'll say to Luke, Cats are decimated, so he's trying to give them some hope, and for the listeners out there, trying to give some hope to Geelong supporters. But literally, if the Bulldogs cannot win tonight, they do not deserve to be anywhere near finals, in my opinion. So yes, it was set up for them last week. To West Coast credit, they actually played well. So and Bulldogs didn't play their best, but let's be honest, it's all set up for the Bulldogs to give themselves the best chance to play finals. Obviously, pending a couple other results. So, if we don't see the Bulldogs actually bring, at least effort. I know you don't always bring your A game based on, your skill-wise anyway, and it's all dependent on what the other opposition are throwing at you too. But at least just bring that hard edge and effort that, looks like a team desperate to get into the finals.
Jess Webster, as I mentioned, is along to call all of the action and was watching the toss of the coin between Patrick Dangerfield and Marcus Bontempelli. Welcome, Jess.
Thanks, Benny. Yeah, an early win to Marcus Bontempelli in the middle. He's won the toss, and the Bulldogs are going to kick to the new grandstand end of the ground, which is nearing its completion here at Cardinia Park. And, a really interesting game tonight. The Dogs plenty to play for, but wouldn't surprise me if the Cats got over the line. Saying farewell to a couple of players, Isaac Smith and Sam Menegola, playing their last games in the hoops tonight.
Yeah, a little farewell for a couple of Cats here tonight. It's all to play for the Western Bulldogs. That stand down there at the city end of the ground, only a season late. They were hoping to have it ready for round one.
Not in a hurry, are they, Benny?
And the steel, an issue with the steel coming in from overseas has just delayed that just a little bit. The crowd has filed in here at Cardinia Park, ready for this fixture. The players just moving into position. Which way are we tipping, Bally?
I'm going to stick with the Dogs. Just looking down there, Marcus Bontempelli is their best player. We know that. I think arguably their most important player, Tom Liberatore, returns tonight. They've been I think in the 7 quarters since he went down injured, they've been horrible really. So expect him to have a big impact. Dogs for me.
Could mean a lot for the Brownlow medal for Marcus Bontempelli tonight. BJ, which way are you tipping?
I'm not all individual awards, mate. So.
No, I know, but which way are you tipping in the match?
No, the Bulldogs, yeah.
Okay.
A sign of, I think, Geelong and their attitude where Conway's got the first go at English in the ruck.
Here we go. Dogs must win on Saturday night. You're with Jess Webster.
In the first game, Toby Conway wins his first hit out of his career. A little bit of an applause from the Cats faithful in the stands. No winner from the first stoppage. We'll do it all again in the middle. This time rowed by Caleb Daniel, who hacks it towards half forward for the Dogs. Norton taps it on. Collie Jasny is there for Geelong. He wins the footy and gives it to Buse, who flares his kick out wide, looking for Dangerfield. He marks just inside the field of play at left half back.
Started in the centre bounce, Paddy. Just keep an eye out. I think he'll have to spend some time, as I said, in that forward arc tonight.
Wasn't it his best last week? Floats a kick down the red Hickey stand wing here. Bounces off the chest there of English. Going in Treloar. He's wrapped up and another ball up right beneath that Hickey stand.
He's good size, Conway, isn't he? He's eyeballing Tim English.
A lump of a lad. Slaps it down here straight to Liberatore. He's tackled quickly by Parfitt and we'll get another ball up. Still on the outside of the logo. Right smack bang in the middle of the red Hickey stand wing.
Toby Conway, 206 centimetres and 101 kilos. The 20-year-old playing his first game tonight. Free kick from the stoppage the way of Geelong.
He is.
It is the first gamer. Coming up for his first disposal, elects to chip in board to Tom Stewart. He's marked adjacent to the centre square. Call to play on now. Send it high towards a big pack at half forward. Getting a hand on there is O'Donnell, but it spills down the way of Parfitt, who gives it to Stengel. The Cats are inside 50. Here's Isaac Smith and his farewell game! Kicks the opener for the Cats. Geelong 1 straight 6. The Dogs yet to score. A minute and a half into the opening term on Grandson AFL. A nice moment for Isaac Smith in his final game.
Vintage Isaac Smith, wasn't it? Just drifting forward off that wing. How many times have we seen him do that? We know his running power has been immense over his career, but he's also a really smart player. He just knows when to drift into space, and he read that really well at the drop of the ball there. And I think it was Parfitt, wasn't it, that got it over the top to
Stengel.
Stengel. Because it was just a high sort of bomb, wasn't it, coming in from Tom Stewart. Parfitt originally getting it to Stengel and then setting up Isaac Smith in a lot of space, it must be said, Pete. So
yeah, it was
alarm bell. Yeah, not a great sign there from the Dogs' point of view.
Well, I think Isaac's a little bit different, actually. Obviously, playing them last week, there's a lot of scouting around Isaac. He's one of the rare wingers that's happy to run anywhere on the ground and plays an extra mid, where most wingers now just hold their depth on their wing.
Cats out of the middle again. Parfitt soccering it inside 50. Ricochets away and Poulter tackled out. Right half forward here for the Cats.
Yeah, so very much that wing roll's very a bit tram tracky these days, where you stay on your side of the wing. You've got your wing, I've got mine, and both wingers are happy to run up and down the same wing all day. But Isaac's still got the licence and obviously the ability in terms of his running power to play as an extra mid and then have the running power to get back out to the wing on his opponent when need be.
English slaps it down, following up with the clearance. Bontempelli kicks the Dogs towards the wing. Stewart getting involved for the Cats, knocks it out. Liberatore extracts it away towards Treloar, kicks back corridor, trying to burst onto it. Holmes leaves it behind, allows in the Dogs. The Cats come again. Buse jams it on the boot, floats it wide of the target, misses the lot. Out of bounds on the full. 1 straight 6. Plays no score. Isaac Smith in this farewell game for him. Kicked the opening goal of the game. 3.5 minutes play.
Caleb Daniel to take the free kick for the Dogs. Chip short to Bontempelli. 30 metres out from his defensive goal. He kicks towards the boundary to bounce in front of O'Donnell. He can gather and chip short to Poulter. It's marked defensive side of this broadcast wing. It chips inboard. Had to be pinpointed, and it was. Marked by Liberatore. Sweeping hand pass looking for West. Has to collect on the bounce. Tackled as he got the hand pass away back to Liberatore. Left foot kick inside the arc. Hagen the target. Knocked away from him. Rowed by Vandermeer. Gets on the right. He sprays the kick across the face, and Holmes takes the second grab for the Cats in the back pocket.
Geelong in there. Sorry, Borley.
No, I was just going to say, Sam DeConning's got the Norton matchup.
Norton looks like he's got the shin pad on too,
Yeah.
so is there a bit of second ruck in that? Has he been doing that the last few weeks? Anyone know? It's kind of odd. I don't think I've seen him
Not
do it
a
much.
heap of it. I did them last week against the West Coast Eagles, and he certainly didn't. Kick up to the wing for the Cats. Going up, Ollie Henry brings it down. Just backward of halfway on the Hickey stand wing. Goalless last week. It's the second time in his Cats career he has been. Kicks up the wing. Nice mark taken by Closey. Gives it off towards Menegola running by. Handball inside 50 to Smith. Tackled by Keith. Loses it. It spits out and the Dogs come away with it. Hayley Williams in the right back pocket.
Kicks out wide. Norton got a shove. Umpire said it is a free kick. First gamer, Toby Conway infringing. So Norton has the footy right back flank. Chips it down the line through the fingertips of West. Out the back is Daniel. Keeps it alive inboard to West. And then off to McLean, who sends the Dogs inside forward 50 as kick is off target and he finds Stewart for the Cats. Last line defence and then kicks out wide to Isaac Smith at half-back.
It's a nice cheer from the Cats faithful as he goes short to Menegola. He gets one in turn. He stabs it short. Away to Holmes. Gives it back to Menegola. Kicks around the broadcast wing. Mark taken by Stanley. Gives it off to Bowes running by. He'll look towards half forward. Stengel coming up. Can't take the chest mark. Follows up at ground level. Running the wrong way. Runs an arc. Chips it into the pocket. And Henry's on the end of it. Neil marks in the right forward pocket. 40 metres out. A 45-degree angle. He gives it off to Smith. Who's running by. He'll go on the left and kick long towards goal. Down in the goal square. Spills down. Snapped through by Nevitt. And this is ominous for the Dogs. It might have been touched. They're going to check it. The players are getting into their zone to see if it's touched. And it was on the way through. A lunging fingertip. Just bent back clearly on the way through. So a minor score.
Still, as you said, though, Benny, just a few little early warning signs for the Dogs. A lot of uncontested ball here for the Cats. Just been able to work their way forward through the Dogs' team defence far too easily and probably should have made them pay then.
Bailey Dale from the kick in has a bounce, runs to the pocket, then tumbles the kick. It's a horrible one. Straight down the throat of Zach Guthrie. Left half forward. He'll send it back inside forward 50. Stengel on the lead, has 3 to beat, and taking the intercept grab is Keith for the Dogs. Will run across the face of goal. The dangerous kick looking for Baker has some work to do. It was knocked away from him. O'Donnell close to the line was tackled over. We'll have a throw in 40 around from the Cats goal, kicking to the players' stand. They lead 7-0. 7.5 goal on first turn.
Got a theory on O'Donnell. Big Saints fan as a kid. Where's number 18? Probably after his favourite player growing up. What do you think, BJ?
Did he get to choose his number at the Dogs, did he?
Oh, well, I'm sure he had some say. Stanley taking it out of the ruck. Little handball away towards Henry. Coming through. Holmes shoveling it out. Baker in the back pocket for the Dogs. Away to O'Donnell, who's tackled to ground. And a ball up, right forward pocket. All of the early play for the men in hoops. 1-1-7 to no score.
He might be a bit Billy Longer fan.
From the stoppage, Liberatore burrowing his way in there. Gives it to O'Donnell. Shrugs one tackle. Can't escape the perfect tackle. And then we'll have a throw in 30 around from the Cats goal, doing all the attacking early stages first turn.
Think of it, isn't he? The old Zav. James O'Donnell, captain of the cricket premiership.
So cricket
2020.
Yeah. Batter or bowler?
Both, I think, like his dad.
Stanley.
15 tackles for the Cats already in this one.
English from the ruck stoppage tried to find his boot, couldn't do so. Baker laying a tackle against Menegola, who feeds the hand pass out to Parfitt. One way, then the other. Gets on the left, screws it to the top of the goal square through Neil and picked up by Bontempelli. Gives it to Caleb Daniel on the last line defence.
He gives it off. Gets a handball back. And there from Richards. Now goes short to Keith. At fullback here, the Dogs, and under early pressure in a must-win match. They've been a little tardy with their start. Keith in the back pocket. He'll drive it up towards the wing. Launching Conway, brings it down in front. Parfitt gives it back to Conway. At half forward, Myers, usually dangerous. Kicks into Daniel. And it ricochets off the smother out of play. A throw in the right forward pocket. Geelong by 7, the opening goal of the game coming through. Izzy Smith in his final game of AFL footy, his 280th and last.
Time in forward half, we're dominated by Geelong at the minute. I think Bulldogs had 3 inside 50s. Yep, to 7, but game being played in Geelong's forward half.
From the throw-in, Bowes takes possession. He's tackled by Waitman, but slipped free. Chucks it on the boot, high up and under towards the top of the goal square, and back with the flight of the ball is Keith taking an excellent mark in defence for the Dogs. Hand passes to Treloar. His kick broken up by Isaac Smith. Down to Stewart, who bangs it towards goal, right to the line. O'Donnell was knocked as he attempted to mark. Gave it to Keith, keeping it alive to Jones on the last line of defence, and that's a nice vision. Finds Bailey Dale in space.
Gives it off to Bailey Dale, who gives it to Richards, who gives it to Treloar, back to Richards. Running down the Hickey stand wing. He wants to kick it long in the Norton direction. He marks and wheels and goes. He has Waitman in space, kicks out in front of him. Waitman gathers. He's bumped off the footy by Buse, a goal-saving effort. And the Cats come up with it in their back pocket as he goes short to Smith again.
Chips it inboard and finds Menegola.
Geez, a poor kick from Norton, wasn't it? He had to hit Waitman there, and he had two options. Went for Waitman and just missed the kick enough to give Buse a chance. Great effort from Buse, as you said, goal saver, but terrible kick from Aaron Norton. Should have been a set shot for Cody Waitman.
Set shot, I think he just would have marked it handball. Who was it running back towards goal?
Rory Lobb was on his own as well.
Rory Lobb was kicking a goal from the goal square.
Menegola kicks it out of bounds on the full. Caleb Daniel kicks it inboard to Liberatore. Cats by 7. Liberatore kicks up towards half forward. Nice mark taken from Baker, who takes off, approaches 50. Eyes the stick, sends it towards goal. It's across to the right. The Dogs are on the scoreboard. It's Geelong 1-1-7 to the Dogs 1 behind, and we've played 11 minutes in this opening term.
Sorry, Jess. Mentioned the Cats have brought their work boots. 18 tackles to 3, and a lot of missed tackles already from the Dogs' point of view. So something they need to clean up there.
Stewart with the kick in, out towards the Hickey stand wing. The Dogs are there. Bontempelli arriving. Knocks it out to Richards. Going backwards. Here the Dogs. Vandermeer away to Bailey Williams. He'll float a kick to half forward. Stewart puts his fist through it. It'll tumble around the boundary line and stay in. Or eventually go out. And we'll get a throw in just forward of halfway on the Hickey stand wing. On the SMS. Hi Ben, Jess, BJ and Luke. Martin from Echuca here. I'm a Bulldogs fan. Win or go home. Come on the Dogs. Keep your text coming, 0437 774 774.
Ball spun back into play. Atkins collects for the Cats. Looping hand pass missed Myers. And coming through is Vandermeer. Gives it to Richards. Sends it to half forward for the Dogs. Excellent defensive mark taken by Tom Stewart. Wants to use the corridor as an excellent mark. Finds Dempsey, defensive side of the centre circles. His kick into the path of Dangerfield, who can play on from half forward. Got a free player in the pocket, and Stengel is on the end of it. Marks 35 out. Greater than a 45-degree angle to the right.
Yeah, that was slick, wasn't it? From an intercept mark on the half forward flank for the Western Bulldogs, and then did not look like giving it up or touching the footy from there. Stewart, great kick inside to essentially the centre of the circle, and then Dangerfield spreading hard for the initial contest. It was on the far wing. But I think a couple of midfielders from the Bulldogs just have to be a bit tighter there and find the man in transition and work a bit harder defensively just to stop that offensive chain from Geelong.
25 goals in season 2023 for Tyson Stengel. On the approach from the pocket. Absolutely flawless. And the Cats have a couple. 2-1-13 to the Dogs, 1 behind. 13 played opening term on Grandson AFL. Luke Ball and Brendan Goddard.
Yeah, good call, Beach. Good transition, wasn't it? Tom Stewart started this game really well. Up to 5 possessions already, 3 marks, and has been involved in all 3 of the Cats' scores. So just trying to work out whether there's a match-up for him. Waitman's been thereabouts. Toby McLean's been down there as well. But as we know, Tom Stewart's such a good player that he's usually smart enough to work around those sort of things. So, in fact, he comes off for a spell. So, yeah, as I said, those desire indicators really lighting up for the Cats at the moment. And from a Dogs' point of view, it's all red. So, get their leaders around the ball, their senior players, get their hands on the footy and treat it like gold.
Stanley and Lobb in the ruck. Stanley slaps it down. Liberatore, so often the one to get the Dogs going, wins the clearance out towards the wing. Mullen fighting after it. He's tackled by Waitman. Has nowhere to go. He's taken down, eventually holding the ball. Waitman got his man after much hard work. Gives it off to Liberatore. Sets the Dogs inside 50. View spoils it away. Spills to Baker. Kick smothered. Ricochets into the pocket. Scott for the Dogs. Wants to get on the left. His kick goes 5 metres. Straight up and down. Spills towards Norton. Jams it on the boot. And sneaks it through. A much-needed major for the Western Bulldogs. Can it get their night going? 2-1-13 the Cats. The Dogs 1-1-7. Quarter hour mark of the opening term. Luke Ball, Brendan Goddard.
Yeah, well, they haven't really looked like, to be honest. A number of their inside 50s have been rushed under pressure, dump kicks forward, but it was their ability, their forward zone, just to keep the ball alive, getting it back in dangerous positions. And Aaron Norton, who was initially involved in that initial inside 50 marking contest, did a good job to get back involved, front and square, finish with a quick little, I guess, kind of snap, dinky one from about 20 out on a side angle.
Started with the tackle though, didn't it, from Cody Waitman. So that scored. We need more of that from the Dogs. Let's see if that can give them a spark.
Need to win the Western Bulldogs if they want to play finals footy. They get their first goal on the board. Back in the middle, Stanley with the tap down to Dangerfield, shrugs the tackle, gives it to Bowes in his 100th AFL game. Chips inside forward 50 to a leading Neil. Couldn't complete the mark. And that mark's going to be paid to Crozier, who got a piece of it, and he sends it backwards to the top of the defensive goal square to Jones, and his exit kick finds West.
West goes laterally in, kicks a turnover straight to Nevitt. Marks on the wing for the Cats, handball over the top towards Menengola. Can't gather, gets around West though, does gather, pulls the trigger from the pocket and misses narrow. Minor score, 2-2-14 plays 1-1-7.
Did have Brian Myers just on that far point post, just kind of a bit of space in the pocket. Made a goal in his last game. He's probably not going to give him a bit of feedback, mate. So he just centre that one up.
From the kick in, Richards short to Dale, who goes very short, just the required distance to Keith. Still inside offensive 50, the Dogs. Trailing the Cats by 7. Goes for a run, sends a high kick towards the broadcast wing to a pack. A fist came from DeConing, kills the contest over and out for a boundary throw in next to the interchange gates. Here in this broadcast wing, it is Geelong by 7. 17 played first term.
Have been a good starting side this year, the Cats. Have won 16 of their opening terms. Dropped off. They were after that. Throwing on the wing. Conway and Lobb both with hands on it. They both follow up. Dangerfield picks it up. Runs a little arc. He'll kick around the wing and kick it out on the full. So the Dogs to get it back. Geelong in their white jumper with the blue hoops. Their white shorts, the Dogs, in their royal blue with one red and white hoop around the middle. Here goes Richards, receiving it from Treloar. Gives it to Keith. Back to Treloar. Dogs on the wing. Kick to half forward. Up goes the pack. De Koning brings it down. Other hands to it. Says the umpire. Tries to get a kick away straight to Conway. Tackled by Liberatore. And a ball up. High left half forward for the Dogs. The Cats leading by 7.
Torre and Atkins just getting well acquainted. From the stoppage, lovely tap down at Atkins. And he's stripped to the footy, holding the ball as the call. Free kick to the Dogs, going the way of English. Left half forward as Atkins and Liberatore continue their tussle. Kick inside forward 50 is a turnover. To Tom Stewart at centre half back. He kicks out to the Hickey stand side. Holmes can mark, defensive side of the wing, as Smith running alongside him, ignores him, kicks up towards half forward to Stengel, who's 55 out from home. He hand passes to Smith, who kept running from 48 out, sends it to the top of the square. It's off hands. Dempsey is there, hand passes back to Neil. He's bumped off it. Ball still alive inside forward 50 for the Cats. Picking it up is McLean of the Dogs, and he gets the hand pass out to Treloar.
Over to West, who slaps it over his head. Dogs on the wing. Baker's handball misses the target. West has to go get it. Runs into a gang tackle. Ball up. Half forward here for the Cats. Kick the opening 2 goals of the game, the Cats. Dogs with the last. English swatting it down. Onto it though, the Cats through Bowes. Handball away to Parfitt. Wide out right half forward. He'll pull his kick back, looking for a marker. And it's dragged down by Henry in the right forward pocket. 25 metres out. 45-degree angle to the right-hand side.
That was good stoppage work by Geelong in the end. It was a contest from danger, but Parfitt was able just to spread, find some space. think it was West, and then just have the ability to look inside off the line, look back at the corridor and find a dinky little kick to Ollie Henry.
Only goalless twice in the hoops. In this, his first season, the kick is tugged. Misses left. So 2-3-15 plays 1-1-7. The Cats by 8. Approaching time on in the first term.
Dale with the kicking duties for the Dogs. Finds Crozier in the back pocket who can run and touch the footy on the ground before sending a high ball towards half forward. Norton from the side. It's a free kick, in fact, going the way of Waitman in the contest. On centre wing, chip short to West in front of the interchange gates. He chips it towards half forward. Ugle Hagen, lob in fact, can take the mark just outside the arc, loads up and bombs it towards goal. A big goal from Rory Lobb. And the Dogs are within 2 points. The Cats 2-3-15, the Dogs 2-1-13. 20 played, first term on Grandstand AFL.
Never looked like missing, did it? Rory Lobb. Hair back to its natural colour. We like that beach, but it was a smart little kick smart kick from Riley West, wasn't it? Who's been involved early. He's started the game pretty well, and that's the method for the Dogs tonight going forward. They have size advantage with Norton down there, Lobb down there, Ugle Hagen. We know that at their best the Cats like to come off and support each other in the air, but they shouldn't be outmarked down there at all with that tall timber from the Dogs. So it was the first time they've looked to attack with any sort of system, and beautiful finish from Rory Lobb.
So Geelong with the first 2 goals of the game. The Western Bulldogs with the next 2. Back in the middle, Conway hands on it. English slaps it out. Comes to Bowes for the Cats. Tumbles a kick to half forward. Unable to mark. There it spills out towards Parfitt. They'll try and work it towards the boundary, but Bontempelli will get involved and mop up for the Dogs. Bowes gets back involved. Handball away to Dempsey, who gives it off to Myers. Pulls his kick back to a central position. And Holmes goes up to mark. 30 out directly in front. And the goal assist king, Ryan Myers, might have laid off another one.
Gack.
It was a great kick, let's be honest. I think I can be critical at times of him that trying it too often. As good as he is with goal assists, his kicks inside 50, but just looking off the line there and kick to advantage to Holmes to let him run and jump at it.
Here comes Holmes, directly in front and hitting the post.
Doesn't count. Just let him down there. He's got the record, hasn't he, already? So it's all gravy now. But he should have kicked that next Holmes.
Coming into today, he had 41, 15 more than the next best.
Petrarca second.
Acker, wasn't it?
Oh, no.
Sorry.
This year.
Yeah.
Dogs from the kick in. Daniel straight down the corridor, but he's turned it over to Conway. Chip it forward to Dangerfield, not the required distance. Broke a couple of tackles, gives it to Myers, off to O'Connor, head first into McLean. And umpire says you ducked, and that's holding the ball. Free kick to the Dogs in their back 50.
Good decision. It's better. Just dial it up a little bit, the Dogs, over the last 5 minutes.
Geelong by 3. Kick laterally to English at right half back. He kicks close to the line on the Hickey stand wing. Offhands, it's out of play and we'll get a throw in.
Still not sure if kicking it long down the middle from a kick into Vandermeer when Conway 206 centimetres his direct opponent.
Umpire spins it in. The ruck's on the logo. Conway and English. Conway brings it down for Parfitt. Handball away to Bowes. Handball to Myers. Handball out towards Dangerfield, who gather on the bounce and get onto his left. Kick the Cats to half forward. Inside 50, Neal hands to it. Doesn't complete the mark. It's paid.
That was a mark.
Absolutely. Yep. Good sides. In the last minute, we've seen a nice clunk from the first game of Conway, 206 centimetre. Nice strong hands there.
45 metres out. Just slightly better than a 45-degree angle to the left-hand side. Only had 3 disposals last week, Shannon Neal. Still waiting for his first goal in AFL footy. From right on the 50, the drop punt is out to the right. Into the pocket, over the pack it goes, and it tumbles out. We'll get a throw in, right forward pocket for the Cats. They lead by 3. 24 minutes played in the first.
Stanley and English to contest this ruck stoppage. English wins the tap down to Treloar, squeezes a kick forward. Waitman in front, knocked away from him by Buse. And we'll dive on top of it and we'll have a stoppage 50 after the Cats goal. Geelong with the first 2 goals of the game, the Dogs with the next 2. Need a win if they want to play finals. This time English, the tap straight down to McLean, he gives it to West, back to English, just gets a kick away to Waitman, who's got space inside the centre square, and it's opened up for the Dogs. Kick out wide to Poulter, who can run onto it. The kick is not a great one. It's over the head of Vandermeer, and waiting for the Cats is Tom Stewart. His kick partially smothered. Ricochets out to the wing. Poulter takes possession, knocked to ground and over the line. We'll have a throw in at half forward for the Dogs on the outer side. Cats by 3.
Dogs need to win and hope that Carlton win tomorrow to play finals. English palming it down in front, going after it. Holmes close to the boundary line, and Leber right there with him to see it out and throw in, or out on the full. Inadvertently off the boot of Holmes, so Leber will get the kick. Right half forward here for the Dogs. Leber veers out to his left, goes low inside 50. Norton launching in front. Stewart. Good defensive mark.
Great mark. It's just got to come to ground. That no excuse tonight. We spoke about that before from the Dogs' point of view. Cannot be getting out marked inside their forward 50.
Kicks across goal to Smith, who chips it inboard to Menengola. Will wind up and kick long down the line looking for Stanley. Nice lead, nice mark. Got it in front of the 2 interchange gates. Let's tend to kick it backwards to De Koning. To continue to switch, but thought otherwise. Sends it back out to this broadcast wing looking for Menengola, but Richards came in with a fist. Can run onto it. Loop the hand pass over the top to Bontempelli. Has an open 50 to work with. Centers the kick, looking for Norton. And he's got a 30 out from goal, slide angle to the right.
Bad mistake, wasn't it, from McConing? Just the opportunity just to keep going open side when that first kick to open up the switch got to him, and then you had Isaac Smith and Stewart on the open side to keep going and then come back to which it came from, and then really good by Richards, who came off the bench, I think.
Should make no mistake, Aaron Norton, and he doesn't. And the Dogs are in front. They kick their third and move to 3-1-19, leading Geelong 2-4-16. 27 played opening term on Grandstand AFL. Brennan Goddard and Luke Ball.
Yeah, it was sharp work, wasn't it, from Ed Richards? He's had a terrific year, Ed Richards, back behind the ball, and already tonight up to 9 possessions, and that one a really smart bit of play. So often players are on their toes and looking for that turnover, especially in the front half, and it's a great example of that, using his speed to create the turnover, handball over the top to Bontempelli, and when the Bont gets it within 70, it usually finds a teammate's hands inside 50. Beautiful kick to advantage. So just starting to generate a bit of enthusiasm, the Dogs, after a pretty sluggish start. All of a sudden, through a mistake from the Cats, they're right back in it.
Yeah, kicked the last 3 after the Cats kicked the first 2. Bounce in the middle. Both the rucks go early. In the end, knocked down in there by Conway. Following it up, Bontempelli knocks it out towards the wing, keeps paddling. Atkins steals it for the Cats. They're with it on the wing. Handball to Menengola, under pressure from Richards. He'll kick around the boundary, bouncing ball. Ainley Dale able to take it and quickly tackled by a couple of Cats. A ball up between wing and right half forward. The Bulldogs lead by 3 points. Their first lead of the night, 28.5 into the first.
English down to Baker, sweeping hand pass straight to Menengola. Just gets the kick away as he was knocked to ground. A high up and under towards half forward. Off hands, Liberatore gives it to Richards. Swung and a tackle. Back to Liberatore. Just squeezes the kick forward. Bounced it in favour Conway. Out the back is De Koning for the Cats. Hand passes to Nevitt inside the centre square, and he chips laterally and finds Holmes.
Holmes wants to poke it out in front of Mullen. Icky stand wing. Nothing he likes immediately. He'll come back infield. A careful looking kick away to Kolajasny. Wants to bring it back towards the western wing. Out onto the chest of Buse. Has a lead in the pocket. Heads towards Henry, close to the line. And he marks it just in the field of play. 40 metres out, hard up against the boundary line.
Pockets are reasonably open here. I can picture a lot of goals being kicked from this pocket. It's probably the Tom Hawkins pocket, I reckon, with his left to right. Picture that. G. Ablett Jr. kicked
I was
a
going to
penny
say
goal
Junior
from
kicked
this very spot.
running kind of away from goals. And
Ollie Henry, he does have a little bit of that left to right on the kick, but it's a little narrow. This is the near side. 2 points to the Dogs' advantage. 3-1 plays 2-5. The last 3 goals of the game, the Bulldogs.
Bailey Dale restarts play for the Dogs. Chips short to Richards in the back pocket and send it long down the line looking for Norton in a 1-on-1 against College Asney. Beats them both, gets out the back to Ugle-Hagan. And the first quarter's in the books here at Cardinia Park. And it is the Western Bulldogs fighting for a place in the top 8. They head into quarter time with a 2-point lead. 3-1-19 to the Cats, 2-5-17. Your goal kickers for the Dogs. Aaron Norton has 2. Rory Lobb has 1. And for the Cats, Isaac Smith in his farewell game has 1. So too Tyson Stengel.
Keep your texts coming in on 0437 774 throughout the night. That's 0437 774 774. The thoughts of Luke Ball and Brendan Goddard after this. At quarter time, it's the Bulldogs leading by 2 points. This is Grandstand AFL.
Hello, I'm Patrick Stack, and if you like great stories and you enjoy sport, then I reckon you need ABC Sport Daily in your life.
What's his mind like? Boy, isn't that a deep well to dig?
These guys, Latrell Mitchell and Cody Walker, they are the superstars of the team and we will treat them differently.
The tone was set early on in the stadium. They announced the starting lineups, and as soon as they announced the coach, George Vilda, there was a huge boo from the crowd.
It's a daily sports conversation and it's called ABC Sport Daily. Find us on the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Spilled down the way of Parford, who gives it to Stengel. The Cats are inside 50. Here's Isaac Smith in his farewell game! Kicks the opener for the Cats. Nice moment for Isaac Smith in his final game.
Vintage Isaac Smith, wasn't it?
Into the path of Dangerfield, who can play on. From half forward, got a free player in the pocket, and Stengel is on the end of it. On the approach from the pocket. Absolutely flawless. The Cats have a couple.
Ricochets into the pocket. Scott for the Dogs. Wants to get on the left. Straight up and down. Spills towards Norton. Jams it on the boot. And sneaks it through. A much-needed major for the Western Bulldogs.
Luke the hand pass over the top to Bontempelli. Has an open 50 to work with. Centers the kick. Looking for Norton. And he's got a 30 out from goal slide angle to the right. Should make no mistake, Aaron Norton, and he doesn't. And the Dogs are in front.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
And the Dogs stayed in front at quarter time. They lead by 2 points. 3-1-19 plays 2-5-17. Geelong the opening 2 goals. The Bulldogs responding with the next 3. Brendan Goddard, the AFL 300 gamer, and Luke Ball, the Collingwood Premiership player, are experts on Grandstand AFL.
Yeah, it was the Cats earlier. It was the first 10 minutes dominated by Geelong, and then just couldn't really capitalise in front of goal. The number of opportunities, the number of inside 50s, and then Bulldogs just couldn't get any speed or momentum or flow in their offence. So Geelong was set up really well behind the ball, and then Bulldogs started to get on top, I thought, just around contest, stoppage, get a bit of ground position off that, and then they actually scored a couple of times just off Geelong's mistake. So kind of basic turnover, kind of scores against for Geelong, just a couple of poor kicks, decisions, DeConing there late. Aaron Norton hit the scoreboard a couple of times. One of them he earned where he was involved in a mark and got back front and centre, but just felt the Bulldogs just clawed their way back into the game and just managed to probably have the momentum there for the last 5 or 6 minutes in the game. So defensive transition, I will say, from the Bulldogs just a couple of times. Geelong midfielders in particular, and even their half forwards in young Dempsey just got out. Dangerfield got out a number of times. So I think for the Bulldogs assistant coaches, just maybe a message just around them, because they're both midfields are finding a bit of the footy, but it's more just that quick transition off turnover, and in particular when Geelong have an intercept mark in their back half, and you know, a name that we're so used to calling in that back half Geelong, James Stewart, just continually intercepting the footy. So if they can do a job on him and restrict him, they're allowing him to be spare on a number of occasions, but when he wins it, they look really dangerous just going forward. So there's a lot to like about and undermanned Geelong at the minute, but they've had opportunities going forward, in my opinion.
He's the one, Tom Stewart, isn't he?
What I say. James Stewart.
Yeah,
but I'm not meant to know the name.
He had four intercept marks.
Old teammate of yours.
James Stewart, that's why he's on my mind.
That's right, yeah.
Looking for a third club, mind you, I think.
That's right, yeah. But Tom Stewart's the one, isn't he? He's the thorn in their side going forward. They've got to find a way, the Dogs. Now, and the Cats' pressure, it must be said, in that first 20 minutes was really good. So that was, part of the reason why the Dogs weren't able to get any real flow with their ball movement. But they've got to find a way to be able to isolate their key forwards. So often you look up to Stewart's. But
they're allowing him free, so they've clearly made the decision, right? So generally, as you know, every opposition sends a high half forward up to a stoppage.
Yeah, well, I wouldn't be doing that. If I'm the Bulldogs tonight, like they're winning it enough with Liberatore, Bontempelli and Treloar.
They should have the upper hand,
and they have, yeah. They should and they will. And with English, of course.
Without
so
that's extra
I'd
support.
love to see them back themselves a bit more to hold 6 forwards. And then it's up to the forwards to work together and isolate and make sure they're not flying against each other and keeping Stewart away or at least occupied. Too many times then.
He's had 6 interceptions.
6 interceptions, yeah. And he was able to impact both in the air and on the ground forward 50. So they're too dangerous in that front half, the Dogs, to be conceding intercept possessions like that. So I'd love to see them be a little bit bolder there in terms of the way they set up. No need to bring a forward up too high. Hold 6. Engage Stewart. Engage Kolajasny, decoding, these sort of players. And back yourselves, back to your forward line is a really dangerous forward line, one-on-one, to be able to impact the scoreboard, especially with the midfield. And you're right, Beej, from about halfway through that quarter, I mean, Liberatore, he's such an important, we spoke about it, he's such an important player for them. 12 possessions for him, 5 of those contested, 2 clearances at 3 inside 50s himself. Bontempelli started to get going a little bit, he's had 9, and Treloar 7. So love to see them back themselves and their personnel a little bit more forward of the ball this quarter, the Dogs.
Text coming through from Jen. Good evening. Big game tonight. Great excitement for my Geelong supporter friends. A game not to be missed. No, the big important game. Their friend's grandson makes his Auskick category debut tonight.
Big night.
Big night.
A bit nervous getting ready.
Second quarter underway. It is the Dogs leading by 2. Stanley in the ruck opposed to English, neither decisive. Picking it up, Atkins gives it off to Dangerfield, a kick out towards half forward. No mark taken, following up Poulter, he's tackled quickly. And we'll get a ball up on the wing, western side of the ground. Dogs by 2, as they were at quarter time. 3-1-19, plays 2-5-17.
Stanley over the top of English illegally. So English will get the free kick.
How many headbands out there tonight, Jess?
Lost count.
Keep an eye on that.
So a lot tonight.
Ollie Dempsey, another one.
What happens when you head down the Surf Coast? Poorly?
Well, both teams, to be honest.
Grommet hairstyles.
English chips to Bontempelli, not the required distance. He scrubs a kick forward through the hands of Menegola, picked up by O'Connor. He gives it to Myers and off to Buse from the bullseye at Gardenia Park. Flares his kick out wide to Stengel, who can mark 55 out from goal. Wants to move it into the pocket, looking for Neil. Getting back is Jones for the Dogs. Takes the mark on the last line of defence.
Chips it to Crozier. And gives it off to Keith. In the opposite back pocket, he'll float a kick beyond defensive 50. Norton attacks it. English can't gather. And Angola arrives. Treloar goes in. Norton picks it up. Dogs come away with it. English away to Poulter. Back into the traffic and then dumping it on his left boot. A kick to the wing, tracking it back. Zach Guthrie, a nice defensive mark for the Cats. Back with it. Dogs by 2.
Sends it to Stewart. Kicks to Menegola in space inside the centre square. He moves it to half forward. Looking for Myers. Just got through to him. Richards also involved, but Myers centres the kick inside forward 50. Gets out the back. Neil taps it on to Parfitt, who can gather 40 out from goal. Throws it on the right boot towards goal. It's missing to the right-hand side for a minus score. Dogs by 1, 3-1-19 to the Cats. 2-6-18. 2 minutes played, second term.
Now with the kick in, short to O'Donnell. Gives it back to Dale, who kicked the Dogs to the wing. Zach Guthrie in front, lob caught behind. Punches it down and gathers at ground level. And ball away to West. West will kick around the wing. Stewart traps it, gathers there for the Cats. Little 1-2 with Menegola and a retreating kick. Back to centre half back, mark taken by O'Connor. Kick into the middle of the ground for Myers. Myers away to kick, quarter of the wing. Mark taken by Dempsey. Gives off the handball to Smith. Handball away to Myers. Handball to Menengola. Handballing inside 50. Away to Colin Jasny. Long check side on goal. He's sneaking through for a minor score. Scores level. Cats have started the second term, the better of the two teams.
Yeah, it's good footy, isn't it, Beach? Just keeping energy on the ball, keeping it moving.
Dale, a dangerous kick in looking for Bontempelli, and now they have to scruff for it. Back to Dale. His hand pass missed the target. Picked up by Dangerfield. Gives it to Henry inside the centre square and pops through a goal. And the Cats make the Dogs pay for a skiller in their defensive 50. And the Cats are out to a 6-point lead, 3-7.
Well, they started well, haven't they, Cats?
25 to the Dogs, 3-1, 19, 3 gone, second term.
You're right, Jess. It started well, but just Dangerfield's just intent there too. We saw that a couple of weeks ago, didn't we, from Richards turning it over the exact same spot against Hawthorn, which turned out to be a pretty critical mistake, getting a goal kicked over his head from a kick-in. But Dangerfield's ability just to get across with his speed and power and get a fingernail, get a hand in that marking would be an uncontested mark to Bontempelli, and then the contest, and they had an outnumber at the fall of the ball where Brian Myers, Stengel, and then it was queued up. It was Ollie Henry as a Dangerfield just picked it up and gave it a handball to Ollie Henry. He kicked a Josh Jenkins goal from the goal square.
It was a very clever boot from Myers too to set it up. Bontempelli out of the middle, bullet-like pass onto the chest of Norton. Doesn't mark. Cats arrive to apply pressure, and West is held up. A ball up. Norton a little sore in back play. Ball up on the attacking 50 here for the Dogs. Stanley slapping it down for Menengola. His kick goes straight up and down. Coming up, Dempsey, he can't take the mark, and trying to get a free kick as well on the Hickey stand wing. Geelong leading by one straight kick, 4.5 into the second.
Second lead change of the night through that last goal from Ollie Henry as Dempsey kicks the Cats towards half forward to a pack. This came from O'Donnell over the line for a throw-in right half forward for Geelong. Haven't played many dead rubbers in recent seasons. I think I saw a stat that it's just the second time Chris Scott is coaching a dead rubber in his coaching career.
What about Joel Selwood? Played 355 games and only one which had no meaning on it. Incredible.
Ball back into play. Liberatore trying to break free. Just got the hand pass out. Stanley had a fumble. Picked up by English. Hand pass defensively to Dale. His kick smothered. Geelong with the pressure. Henry gathers. Hand pass missed Atkins, who tries to tap it on. Coming through is Richards for the Dogs. He was almost taken high. Ball spills loose. Stengel to Myers. His hand pass missed Neal. And then West happy to see it through to a rush behind in the goal square. Almost another goal to Geelong. Their lead is out to 7, 3-8-26 to 3-1-19. 5 gone, second term.
Long kick from Jones out towards the wing, and O'Sheen Mullen, the Irishman, comes up and marks. Gives it off to Smith. He'll chip it short. Dempsey here at right half forward for the Cats. Pulls his kick towards centre half forward. Mark taken by O'Connor. Stabs it short. Play on the call. Parfitt. High kick to full forward. Up they go. Henry can't mark. Bolter arrives for the Dogs. Gathers and clears. Or does he? Might have set it up for the Cats. Zach Guthrie brings it to ground. Able to get a handball away towards Nevitt. And he'll see it out in the forward pocket for the Cats. They lead by 7. They're 3-8. Bulldogs 3-1. And Luke Beveridge cutting a nervous figure in the coaching box with good reason.
Got them pinned here, the Cats, 5 inside 50s in a row.
Ball spun back into play. Stanley and English and Ruck. Stanley in front position. Goes down the way of Menengola. He's caught. Stripped to the footy. Umpire says play on. They all dive on top of it. They have a stoppage. 45 out from the Cats' goal. They lead by 7.
The sense that Sam Menengola was out there to prove tonight that he's still got plenty of AFL footy left in him. Up to 13 possessions.
From the ruck tap straight to Holmes, who's quickly tackled. Already at a third club. Borley. Stanley slapping it outside for Izzy Smith, who's on the move. Right forward pocket. Wrong foot snap. And sneaking it through for a behind. Very nearly. Izzy Smith on the fly again.
He hasn't kicked too many of those, though. Is he on the right foot? The wrong pocket.
A bit of dust came off it there as he snapped. That's the joke we go with, isn't it, Beach?
That's right.
Mainly there for balance. Mainly there for balance, that right leg.
Richards from the kick in has a bounce. And that is a beautiful kick out wide for O'Donnell, who marks, and hand passes to Chalor, sweeping hand pass to Baker. He gives it off to Crozier from halfway, under pressure with the kick. It dribbles to Vandermeer, who collects and then kicks inside 50 to Norton. Is it a free kick? The umpire said yes. I think it was a chop of the arms, and he will line up for a shot at goal, 40 out directly in front.
No, I think that was there. He clearly had his two hands on it, and the only way he could spoil him, was with the arm chop was too high, had too much space. But it was good ball movement from the Bulldogs, wasn't it? You made mention, I think it was Jess, that kick from Richards.
Bullet, wasn't it?
Just that opened up the game, that forced the kind of forward press from Geelong players that had the outnumber on that side.
Aaron Norton for goal number 3. It's fading to the right-hand side for a behind. The margin is 7 points the way of the Cats. 3-9-27 to 3-2-20, 8.5 gone, second term.
Short kick in from Zach Guthrie to Stewart, who kicks out towards 50, and the Koenig marks. One of the headband wearers tonight goes laterally to O'Connor at left half back. That's by 7. O'Connor will kick around the western wing. Up comes Ollie Henry. Over his head it goes. Out the back. English there for the Dogs. Handball, a turnover. Straight to Neal. Runs back into traffic. Retreats with the handball back to Buse. On the logo. In a bit of trouble. He'll go laterally with the kick into the middle of the ground and spot up Stewart.
Chip short to Holmes. Jason to the centre circles. And passes to De Koning. Just forward of halfway. Bombs it inside forward 50 to a pack. Jones the flyer for the Dogs. It spills away at Bowes. Hand passes out to Nevitt. Slips a couple of would-be tacklers. Tumbles a kick to the top of the goal square. Poulter's there for the Dogs. Gives it to Williams in the back pocket. Clears the danger zone. Out to half-back. Waitman and Norton in the contest. Gets out the back to O'Connor. Free kick going the way of Geelong.
Yeah, going to get a free kick. In the end, it'll go to De Koning. Very wide out of right half forward. He wants to set it up inside 50, looking for a marker. Launching Neal, can't mark. Spills to Smith. Running snap. He's wide out to the left. He's having some fun out there tonight. Izzy
Looks
Smith.
like it, doesn't he?
Yeah. Shot on goal.
He's sniffing a bag, yeah. I reckon he wants a handful tonight.
Out of bounds on the full.
O'Donnell with the free kick for the Dogs. Chips it short to Keith.
Geelong leading by 7. 10 minutes into this second term.
Keith kicks along the boundary line. You've got Hagan and Stewart in one-on-one. Stewart wins today and sends it over the line for a throw-in at left half forward for Geelong, leading by 7 points. 2 subs for tonight. Lockie McNeil for the Western Bulldogs and Ted Closey on debut for Geelong. A sub tonight for the Cats.
Umpire flings it back in. Conway laying it down to Liberatore. Handball away to Treloar. Spirals a kick for the Dogs up the wing. Waitman goes in. Kolodjasny beats him to it. Cat's back with it to Zach Guthrie. Little fumble there from Bowes. Allows in Ugle-Hagan. Dogs away with it. Handball to Norton. Under the pump. And we're going to get a ball up. Left half forward.
It's better intensity though from the Dogs. Much better effort from forwards there, tall and small.
Conway with the tap down to Stengel. Tackled immediately by Liberatore. We'll have another stoppage.
No, he drives it, Libba. Make no mistake about it. He's trying to make a statement here, trying to lift his teammates.
Only knows one way. Does Liberatore. Lob and ruck for the Dogs. Palms it down to McLean. Skies it inside forward 50. No one there for the Dogs. Guthrie could have claimed the mark. The umpire said play on. Knocked away from him. Picked up by Bontempelli. Tackled to the ground. Stoppage 48 out from the Dogs' goal.
Matty Nichols actually touched off the boot, so the fans didn't see that. Wouldn't have been paid anyway.
Winning the tap down lob. Away to Bontempelli. Handball away to McLean. To Baker. Hooks the ball back to the hot spot. Looking for Norton. A couple of bites at it. Waitman slaps it out. Straight to Bailey Williams. He's tackled strongly. Mullen wasn't letting go. And a ball up. 30 metres out from the attacking goal. Here for the Bulldogs. Conway slaps it down to Atkins. Has an arm pinged in the Liberatore tackle. Now Conway picks it up. Bends over all of the 206 centimetres and picks it up before he's tackled. Another ball up.
Wrestle with Lob in this stoppage. Lob down to Treloar, whose kick is wayward. Out of bounds on the full. Free kick to Geelong in the right back pocket. The Cats by 7. Colin Jasny. The free kick for the Cats elects to chip short to Bowes. Gives it to Isaac Smith. From the back pocket, bullets a pass beautifully and finds Mullen at half-back.
Mullen, his hair tied up. It's back inside defensive 50 and spots up Bowes. Former son, now a Cat. Patrick Dangerfield a part of the recruitment process there. As he kicks out towards the wing. Massive fly! Massive hands to it from Henry. Can't quite drag it down. The Cats come away with it. Dempsey a handball away to Buse. Handball to Smith. Handball inside 50. Spills out to Bontempelli, and now the Dogs will be able to try and work it out through Daniel.
Chance for Richards, who hand passes to Jalor and gives it to McLean. From half-back, hand passes defensively to Richards and then laterally to Keith. He's got some room to move at left half-back and take a bounce on the outer side. That is a terrible kick, straight to Tom Stewart. Takes his 5th intercept grab of the night, completely uncontested.
That had to be Cody Waitman then. He was looking for... he's got to know his opponent, Keith. With respect to him, he can't hit a bullet pass across his body on 50 metres. Stewart worked hard to get in line with the footy. Cody Waitman was expecting a miracle kick from Keith. He's got to work harder to get over there and make a contest.
Colin Jasny long to the wing and lob marks for the Dogs. Cats leading by 7.
That would have been literally the mark of the century.
He hasn't come down yet.
Because on his way down, he caught someone else's shoulders.
Kick inside defensive 50. Sets a task for O'Donnell. Cats at half forward through Stengel. O'Donnell goes again. Gathers the footy. Shovels out a handball to Poulter. Now he's under the pump. Smith's got him. Handball back to O'Donnell. He'll kick towards the wing. The Cats are swarming. Holmes onto it. Handball away to Dangerfield. Runs into a tackle. Handball looking for Buse. And a throw in between wing and left half forward. The locals down on the Bellarine, not too happy with it.
There it is there.
Oh,
Henry.
Watch how long he stays up for.
He got on lob initially.
Pause for a photo.
And then just hovered there.
Incredible effort. Ball back into play. Spills away of Isaac Smith. His hand pass couldn't find a target. Ball in dispute inside the centre square. Picked up by West of the Dogs. Hand passes to Williams. Loops the hand pass over the top to McLean. Now off to Vandermeer. Good build up from the Dogs. The kick inside 50 has to be a good one. It lands into the path of Scott, who just has to gather. Hand pass to English in the goal square and kicks through another for the Dogs. Margin back to a point. Geelong 27 to the Dogs 4-2-26. 15 travelled second term on Grandson AFL. Brendan Goddard and Luke Ball.
It was great clearance work, wasn't it? Great stoppage work here at half forward for the Cats. I think it was Riley West. It was a contested footy that had to be won, and he was the one that wanted it the most and burst through, and then from there they were able to run it down, and all their small forwards involved. The Vandermeers had a bit of an impact as well in the last couple of scores. Nice kick over the top. Scott, who looks like he's got the Stewart match up. It's not really a tag, but it looks like he's trying to keep Stewart busy as much as possible. So good for him to be able to get involved in the score chain there, and Tim English getting the easy one over the top. So you wouldn't say it's super pretty at the moment for the Dogs. It's hard work, but they're just starting to get their game going a little bit.
Bounce back in the middle. Conway and Lobb. Lobb hooking it down towards Parford though. Parford dives on top of it. They get on top of him. Eventually it comes out to Lobb. He'll kick the Dogs to half forward, looking for a marker. English is down there, gathers on the bounce, then loses it. And Mullen for the Cats. Away to Bowes, to Atkins, to Zach Guthrie, and quickly out towards the Hickey stand wing. Bouncing ball for Myers. Handball releases the run of Holmes. Back to Zach Guthrie. He'll kick into the pocket. Looking for Stengel. Bouncing ball. Can't quite control the bounce. And it bounces out. Throw in right forward pocket for the Cats. They lead by a point. 17 minutes played second term.
That's the issue again for the Bulldogs though. Geelong won that off halfback flank, and they literally did not lay a finger on Geelong all the footy, and it's just a missed kick from Guthrie that stopped Geelong having a shot on goal.
From the ball in, Bontempelli has a go. Could it trap it? Stengel picks it up for Geelong. Skies it into the pocket. And it gets through a couple of sets of legs. Dangerfield at the back couldn't take it cleanly. Picked up by Jones, who gives it to McLean, to O'Donnell and Crozier. In the defensive goal square for the Dogs. Kicks to a one-on-one. Baker against O'Connor. Baker knocked it to ground. It's going to be roved by Mullen. He'll send it back inside forward 50 for the Cats. Instead pokes the kick to Menangola, 52 out from goal. A very crowded forward 50. The run-in board as the pressure came from Norton affected the kick straight down the throat of Lobb, who takes the intercepting grab.
So the delivery inside 50 from either team has been at a premium tonight.
Lobb kicks up the middle. West marks, gives it off to Bontempelli. Galloping out of defence, he kicks laterally to Bailey Williams. Hickey stand wing, comes infield. Edge of the centre square, West marks for the Dogs. Kicks forward to the wing, Bontempelli, clever little tap. Away to Liberatore. Look out, Daniel. Closed down by Holmes. Loses it in the tackle. Holmes slaps it out towards Dempsey, who gives it off to Parfitt. And a kick to the wing for the Cats in Dangerfield.
Escapes a would-be tackler and then pumps it long to a one-on-one. Henry against Jones. Jones with the spoil. Stengel chasing after it close to the boundary line. Keeps it alive. Gives it to Henry from the boundary line. Beautiful vision. Neil all alone in the goal square. And kicks his first goal in AFL football. Cats back in front by 5 points. 4-9-33 to the Dogs, 4-2-26. 18 played. Second term Grandson AFL. Brennan Goddard and Luke Ball.
Yeah, Geelong teammates. I think realising that it is his first goal. I mean, they're out on their feet a bit. There's a lot of hands on hips, but some of the defenders making the effort to run down to him. Not the usual swapped by 17 teammates celebration for your first goal, but most Cats players making the effort to get to him, and just something out of nothing again, wasn't it? Henry involved and Stengel, but again that transition from the Cats to take the ball from back flank really, or back, the back half inside 50 without too much pressure from the Dogs has been a real issue.
Yeah, it was actually Liam Jones. I'm not sure. You can't really pin it on O'Donnell being a young player, just playing too much up in front on Neil, but the initial contest with Henry got the fist in, and then just watch Henry run over to Stengel and create an outnumber and keep the ball in play and get that off to Neil.
Conway down for Dangerfield, bursting out of the middle, tumbling a kick into the pocket and tumbling out in the left forward pocket. What is going on with Patrick Dangerfield's kicking tonight?
Just just tonight, is it?
Well, it's been a little off for a while now.
Leave that to you, Bolly.
Well, sometimes it's almost like he's running so fast that fails to steady and get it on the boot.
Stanley down for Parfitt, handball away to Atkins, slick finish. And the Cats are out by 13 points, a game-high lead. 0 Western Bulldogs.
You kind of see it coming though, isn't it? It was the Cats. Looks like Geelong have dominated the quarter again. They started the game well, started this second term really well. Bulldogs have had moments where their ball movement looked like getting them out of trouble and hitting the scoreboard, which it has, but just 5 goals 9.
Yep.
They look dangerous throughout. Just again, we talked about the ball use. When they get the ball in their hands, yes, it was a clearance from Dangerfield early, kicked the old wounded duck forward, but a 450 stoppage. But just when Geelong win the ball back, they just look dangerous. Too dangerous.
Yeah, sorry, Beak. Like Parfitt's game tonight, he's playing for his future in a sense here for the Cats. So he's playing like a desperate man. And 12 inside 50s to 4 for the quarter. Cats way.
From the restart, Conway with the hand pass turned it over to Treloar, who gives it to English and back to Liberatore. Wonderful smother by Atkins, who chases after the footy. Hand passes to Parfitt, approaches 50 and delivers it on a platter to Stengel in the pocket. And they get around Atkins.
Yep.
Wonderful effort. Has set up a shot at goal.
Yeah, he's a beauty. We mentioned Tom Liberatore, and he's the heartbeat, really, the engine room of the Dogs team. Tommy Atkins, in a lot of ways, is becoming that player for the Cats. He's been put into the centre bounce, really. We know Joel Selwood moving on last year, but Atkins just loved the way he attacks every contest, and he's created this shot at goal with that desperate smother.
Tough shot for Tyson Stengel in the pocket. The kick is on its way, and it's going to be across the face. Just nicks in for a minus score. And the Cats move to 5-10-40 to the Dogs 4-2-26. 22 gone, second term Grayson AFL.
Caleb Daniel bringing it back in, looking for Jones and finding him at halfback. He runs away with it. Kicks towards the wing. Norton leaping over the top of Mullen to mark. He chips out in front of Waitman. Dogs quickly down the Hickey stand wing. Inside 50. Lob marks. Coast to coast from the Dogs in a flash. They went whooshka.
It's arguably 3 contested marks, isn't it? You say Jones was a contest. He just missed the body. I think it was Guthrie on the far side coming forward to defend, or Nevitt. Young Nevitt, but you're right, the old astronaut, he literally just jumped over the top of Mullins.
Lob on the snap, swinging it through. An important goal for the Dogs from their star off-season recruit. He's got a couple, and it's back to 8 points. The Cats 5-10-40. Western Bulldogs 5-2-32, 23 played, second term.
Yeah, not the typical slick Dogs ball. In fact, their kicking's been a little bit off tonight. We're so used to a Bulldogs team being really precise with their ball use and foot skills. Yes, Geelong's pressures had a bit to do with that tonight, but even then the kick's just a little bit off, but and made their teammates work for it. But yeah, all good enough then to take the mark, and at least they were really positive with their ball use there and keep it in motion. You know, great getting a look at the hanger from Aaron Norton. That was a beauty. He's looked dangerous tonight, hasn't he? He really has looked like he wants to be in the action tonight. And Rory Lobb, a nice finish.
English with a tap down in the middle, but straight to Parfitt, who soccers it towards half forward. Myers collects, tackled by Daniel. Got the hand pass out to Bowes at half forward. Measures his kick nicely to Stanley, who's marked 45 out from goal, close to the boundary.
Well in his range. Well, very Stanley.
Spread, wasn't it? He took a bit of a chance from the centre bounce. Said, righto, Tim English, this is one of your strengths. Let's see if you want to run back the other way with me. And geez, a clever bit of play from Brian Myers, wasn't it? Looked like he was gone cold there with that tackle. Just able to get the ball onto his boot. Little 5. And often we see him do that. Little 45-metre kick to a teammate, Bowes, who set up his shot at goal to Stanley.
Back into the side tonight. Reece Stanley hasn't kicked a goal so far this season. Gives it everything. Missing to the near side for a behind margin. 9 points the way the Cats. 5-11-41 to the Dogs. 5-2-32. 25 travel second term.
Oh, Dale, a dicey kick in. It bounces. Richards just able to gather it. He'll kick out of bounds on the full.
Well, that's what I mean. Haley Dale, one of the best kicks in their team and in the comp. Just an unforced error. We're seeing a lot of that.
Just a little bit sloppy with their season on the line. Nevitt sends it into the pocket. Henry launching again. Not quite as high as the last time, but off the pack out, a player throwing in the pocket.
Still something to play for, isn't there? Mark of the year up for grabs still.
Get a car these days?
Nah, no longer a car.
It hadn't been a car for a long time.
Yeah.
I thought it was back.
Umpire spins it back in. Stanley taking it out of the ruck. Handball away to Myers. Loses it under pressure. Now sweating on it. The Cats are onto it. And popping it through Dempsey. Oh, this is very ominous for the Dogs. With their season on the line. Geelong are out by 15. 6-11-47 plays 5-2-32 late in the first half.
As the Bulldogs initially got their hands on the footy, wasn't appalling. It was an unforced error, missed handball by, was it West?
It was a hot handball back and forced out the fumble from young O'Donnell. And when you do that in the back 50 and you've got momentum, Cats players coming through the stoppage, can't afford to fumble. Yeah, red hot handball, O'Donnell fumble, and Dempsey good enough to be there on the spot with momentum. And just when you felt like the Dogs were able to answer, the Cats hit back again.
Who won Mark of the Year in 2010 with your grand final mark each?
Finals marks don't count, mate, so it doesn't matter.
I thought they still could.
No.
Back in the middle, the Cats win it again. Atkins to Parfitt to Stanley. Delivers it into the pocket for Henry. It's as good as you'll get from the centre bounce.
It is. Yeah, last two. Reece Stanley showed Tim English, the All-Australian ruckman-elect, a clean pair of heels, hasn't he?
It is. It's just Henry getting out on Liam Jones there. He's such a good defender. He's just missed a lot of footy this year, unfortunately for him, but started off the year great, but just giving his opponents just a bit of rope at the minute.
Ollie Henry from 45. The kick is on its way. It's going to just sneak through for a goal. He's got a couple, and Geelong are out to a new game-high 21-point lead here at the Cattery. They move to 7-11-53 to Western Bulldogs 5-2-32. 28 travelled, second term on Grandson AFL. Luke Ball and Brendan Goddard.
Centre bounce clearances are still so important, and we know they're going to be really important over the next month of 42 this final series. And as I said, Reece Stanley just showing his opposite number a clean pair of heels, and that one just doing it all himself. And now he can do that. Atkins
again, Parfitt again.
Yeah, Parfitt's having his best game for the year. There's no doubt about that. He's up to 15 possessions. He's in everything. And you're right there. I mean, Liam Jones, just too much rope. And Ollie Henry, medium-sized forward, so good overhead. Doesn't need much space, does he, to create a chance like that?
Have to watch his former side. The Pies go into the finals. He's English, taps it down to himself. Clear and kick. Half forward, Hugo Hagan loses it. Somehow Zach Guthrie comes up with it. Handball away to Kolajasny. He's triple teamed as he's taken to ground. Ball up forward here for the Dogs. They trail by 21. Game high. English and Stanley. Stanley slapping it down. Goes onto it. Ricochets away. His handball towards West. On his back, trying to kick it. Out towards Treloar. Handball to Bontempelli, slaps it cleverly to Poulter. Time to steady on the left and kick a slick goal. The mid-season pickup. Barely any energy from the Dogs on their celebration.
Yeah, they're celebrating by himself. It's not like he ran to the crowd to... Well, the Bulldogs cheer squad is actually in that pocket because there's no behind the goals they can get, but...
Back to 15 points. It was a listless celebration, wasn't it? And this has been the issue with the Western Bulldogs. Are they a happy team? Are they an energised team? Are they performing like they should be? Is everything right at the kennel balling?
That's the question. It's going to be answered in the next hour or so, isn't it, Benny? Well, I didn't get a stat for it, but that was brilliant from Bontempelli, wasn't it? Just to deflect that handball. They just haven't been able to get two in a row, really. They haven't been able to get any momentum. And then inside, it was only their 7th inside 50 for the quarter.
You guys have been in change rooms. We'll have to answer in a moment. But how emblematic is that of when something's wrong?
Yeah.
Liberatore with the clearance out of the middle to Bontempelli, who's kicked towards half forward, is marked by Waitman on the paint. 51 metres out from goal, wants to pass it off, and Poulter's floated forward. He's taken the mark near where he kicked the goal moments ago.
Yeah, he's had a side, hasn't he? A little bit further out this time. He has 30 seconds to think about it, but he's shown a bit of life, hasn't he? He's shown a bit of spark, Poulter. That's why they got him across. We know that from their VFL team. Again, from the centre clearance, all so important to address those inside 50 woes for this quarter from the Dogs. Let's see if they can put two in a row on here.
Important kick close to half-time for Caleb Poulter, and he sprays it out of bounds on the full. No change to the score. Cats by 15.
Give him half a second to think, and he goes bang on the left. It's a beautiful kick of the footy, and go back, stop, take the 30, have a think about it, out in the full.
Maybe we'll wait for half-time, but I'm really intrigued by the dynamic of lack of energy after that Dogs goal. The Koning long out towards the wing, and Stanley going up will get a free kick. 15 points to Cats' advantage, and out by as many as 21 for that Poulter goal. Back to Stewart, who wants to switch it to Kolajasny. That left half back. Kicks to the western wing. Buse goes up. Waitman right there with him. Buse juggles it, doesn't complete it. Tackle towards the boundary line. And a throw in on the wing. 31.5 minutes into this second term. Cats by 15. The underman Cats with nothing to play for, leading the Dogs, who have it all to play for.
All back into play. Stanley in front position against English. Whistle on play. Free kick to Stanley for a ruck infringement. It's defensive side of halfway. Not long to go in this first half at Cardinia Park. Cats by 15 as Stanley sends them to half forward. Henry from the side misjudged it. O'Donnell's there to take the grab for the Dogs. His kick out wide bounces in front of Treloar, who's met by Menegola. Tries to rip the footy from his hands. And then throws it back to the umpire quite aggressively. He's given the free kick to Chalor at halfback. Chips then ball to Dale, not the required distance. Gives it to Crozier, under pressure with the kick. Into the centre square to a contest. It was touched off the boot, so the mark won't be paid to Vandermeer as the halftime siren sounds here at Cardinia Park. And it is Geelong who head into the main break with a 15-point advantage. 7-11-53 to the Western Bulldogs, 6-2-38. Your goal kickers for the Cats, Henry has 2, both coming in that second quarter. Singles to Smith, Stengel, Dempsey, Atkins and Neal. And for the Dogs, 2 each to Lobb and Norton and 1 each to Poulter and English.
Sorry for repeating it if you've been with us right throughout the night, but for those that have just joined us, it's all to play for the Western Bulldogs. They need to win to keep their season alive, and yet against a Geelong side that is sans Brad Close, Asava Radaglia, their star forward Jeremy Cameron and Tom Hawkins for that matter, Mitch Duncan, Tanner Bruin and Zach Tui. They lead the Bulldogs by 15 points at half-time here on Grandstand AFL. Brendan Goddard, Luke Ball. How did we arrive here?
Yeah, well, it's we spoke very, very briefly before in our 5-minute pre-game, didn't we, Beej, about the fact that we'd expect a Bulldogs response, regardless of the fact that the final spot or a potential final spot is on the line, such was their performance last week. We'd expect a response tonight, and really from that first 5-10 minutes, it was all Geelong. And for me, the indicator, the stat that really signals intensity and desire, the tackle indicator, the tackle count early, which allowed Geelong to control field position, lock the ball inside 50 and have repeat entries. And look, we know that their forward line is a little bit undermanned tonight. We know the big guns aren't out there, but they've just been able to conjure up a score. I mean, it could have been a lot worse when you look at it. 7 goals, 11 to half-time. From how many inside 50s they had? 33. So but it was really just down to their pressure and intensity that forced Bulldogs errors. But then what also added to it was some really uncharacteristic and sloppy errors from the Dogs that we're not used to seeing. I know you're touching on it, Ben, and we'll talk about it in a sec. Just their lack of attention to detail. Even Jones, BJ, you mentioned, allowing Henry way too much space there, which we're not used to seeing Liam Jones do. So just little things all across the field that's added up to a Bulldogs team that's just not firing on all cylinders, and hence they get the half-time result that they get. So thoroughly deserved this lead. The Cats to this point could have been even more. We spoke about inside 50 differential and dominance, and really, you can imagine if Tom Hawkins or Jeremy Cameron was in that forward half for the Cats tonight, it could have been a hell of a lot worse for the Dogs, Beach.
Yeah, it was. It was a dominant quarter from the Cats, wasn't it? And just they had a kick straight, 7-11, 18 shots. I think you were talking about from 33 entries. It's pretty efficient. And we know how efficient they can be, but it's more the concerning thing for the Bulldogs' point of view is when Geelong do win it in their back half in particular. At times they literally just don't look like touching the footy again until Geelong either cough it up with an unforced error, or they literally goes out of bounds in their forward 50, or they kick a point. So just that defensive transition ability to find them when they do win it in their forward half for the Bulldogs, their ability then the Bulldogs just to number off, we call it number off, find your opposition, be able to then slow them down and actually then force them to kick to a contest. And more about the mentality, I reckon, just to get the ball back off them as quick as possible rather than almost waiting for the opposition to make an error to get it back. And there were a number of times when they're capable, and the good thing about that is the opposition they can't control what you're doing without the ball. So your intent, your work rate defensively, and then your intent to pressure the man with the ball when the ball's in transition, to actually work hard just to find your direct opponent. And then often it's not your direct opponent, as we know. It's a kind of team defence mentality. So it's take the most dangerous, or just find an opposition colour. But so that's the thing that's sticking out for mine. And Bulldogs ball use got them a couple of opportunities that quarter just purely by skill on shots on goal. We saw that the kick in. There was arguably three contested marks, and Lobb kicked that goal, the snap from about 30 out. But other than that, on the flip side, they don't really look like scoring in transition, do they? When they win it in their back half, unforced errors, missed kicks from one of the best kicks in the competition, in my opinion, in Dale and Richards making error earlier in the first quarter. So, just I think you talked about it, Paul. It's just coming into the game, catch a big chance, just depending on what Bulldogs turned up and. The first half, it doesn't look like a team that are literally desperate to play finals, and apart from relying on other results, just give ourselves a chance to play finals. And yes, we talk about their last couple of weeks or 2 of their last 3 weeks, but they've got opportunity again just to have a small chance, and it just doesn't look or reek of a team that's really desperate to play finals.
The no celebration or very limited celebration of Caleb Poulter's goal. Well, what does it tell you about a team? Does it tell you that something's not right internally?
Well, it tells you that the players are out there stuck in their own heads, in a sense, if that sort of makes sense.
Yeah.
They're worrying about their own game or what they should be doing, rather than, when you see teams doing that and celebrating the good teams when everything's going well, you're not thinking, you're doing things instinctively. Yeah. So you're thinking outside yourself. You're thinking about celebrating teammates' efforts. Whether it's a goal or a smother or a chase down tackle or 1%er. You're just doing that. Whereas it's just not happening naturally for the Dogs at the moment, is it? Yeah, it just looks like a lot of them are playing with a bit of a weight on their shoulders. We know there's that expectation. The magnifying glass is on them. It was last week. It's got bigger this week, and that's how they're playing. There's not a lot of freedom with how they're playing. Even those missed kicks is a symptom of that, I think. Guys who naturally usually just hit those kicks without even thinking about it, just a little bit tighter over the ball tonight.
Insular.
Yeah, that's right.
And it's one of the things when you're not going well that we've Bull and I have been in the meetings about how do we get ourselves back into form, and we talk about celebrating the little things and particularly when this is arguably an interstate trip, right, for the Bulldogs coming out of Geelong. It's like going interstate where you're going to get no love and I guess energy from the crowd, so you've got to create it yourself. So there's an opportunity from a young kid that's, in that particular time was 21 points before he kicked the goal, get them back within 15, so they probably get one more goal there. It's out to 27 points, and we're going, it's a long way back. A young player slotted it, great from the Bond, their best player, but I don't know, it just looked weird. No intent, effort to get over to him. Is that maybe? I don't want to speak out. Is it? No, I don't want to get in the path.
You gave me your favourite emotion that you give me, BJ, when you scrunch up your face and throw your hands out.
It was just obvious. Just like get around the young bloke.
It was very obvious. Like it was sort of like it was like a goal late in the game when the game's over and you don't celebrate it. So
we were there last week when the Dogs lost to West Coast, and it was very telling. They were lacklustre at best, and to go down to the Eagles, who, away from home, and Dogs are playing at Docklands, and it was just like there was no intent. Very meh.
And that was obvious. Like I felt sorry for him because he almost felt awkward. He's given the fist up and looked around. It's literally like,
where are you?
It's like when you dive under the ocean when you're out at sea and you dive under and you just see just black or blue water forever. I'm just got no one around him here. It's like man out at sea by himself.
So with the Bulldogs season on the line, the thoughts of Brendan Goddard and Luke Ball here on Grandstand AFL. It is Geelong leading by 15 points. Without being disrespectful, the lesser-known Cats leading by 15 points. The goal kickers for the Cats, Solly Henry with the couple, and then singles to Dempsey, to Neal, to Stengel and to Izzy Smith in his farewell game. While for the Dogs, it is a couple to Norton, a couple to Lobb, singles to Poulter and to English. There is another game ongoing at the moment. That is a dead rubber, but the West Coast Eagles playing the Adelaide Crows. It is the Crows, 4-5-29, leading the Eagles 3-1-19. If you wish to listen to that game, you can do that on your ABC Listen app via the Grandstand Extra or AFL Extra button. A little toggle across the top. We will send you to that game for the final quarter once we're done here tonight. Jen, I want to mention to you, you text in, the Oz Kickers are out there. So your neighbours, Geelong supporting friends, kid is out there having a run around at the moment, which is great to see. Right now, though, time for us to pause and get the latest from the ABC Newsroom.
This is ABC News with David Rowlands. The Australian Federal Police have charged a man for allegedly making threats of violence against Independent Senator Lydia Thorpe in a video published online. Ms Thorpe has confirmed she is the senator at the centre of the year-long AFP investigation after she referred the video to police in January last year. A 30-year-old Melbourne man has been charged for his alleged role in creating and publishing the video. The man is due to face court next month. A 33-year-old man from Sydney South has been charged with dangerous driving causing death and other offences after his two nephews aged 9 and 10 were killed in a car crash overnight. Danuta Kazaki reports.
Police allege the 33-year-old man lost control of his car and crossed to the wrong side of the road in Monterey last night, hitting a tree around 10 o'clock. His 9-year-old daughter was also injured in the crash and taken to Sydney Children's Hospital. Police are also searching for the driver of a grey sedan seen near the crash. Officers are investigating if the car had been street racing. The man is expected to face a bedside court hearing from St George Hospital tomorrow morning, where he's under police guard.
Victorian opposition leader John Pasuto is calling for a proper investigation into allegations of branch stacking and corruption in the Victorian Labor Party after an internal probe into the renewal of party memberships of two dead men failed to find any answers. The men died in 2017, but their memberships were renewed for 2 years in the now abolished Layla South branch in the northern suburbs, which is associated with Energy Minister Lily D'Ambrosio. Labor's party monitor John Thwaites investigated the matter, but his report said everyone he spoke to denied forging signatures or completing renewal forms for the deceased men. Mr Pasuto says it's unacceptable.
The Labor Party has conducted a sham investigation into this branch stacking scandal, whitewashed the results, and it's only left the loved ones of the deceased feeling even more aggrieved when what they deserve is an explanation.
The South Australian Government is disappointed that the Teachers' Union didn't respond to its pay offer before it voted in support of industrial action. Members of the Australian Education Union at state schools will walk off the job next Friday. The union wants an 8.6% wage rise in the first year of a new enterprise bargaining agreement and 5.5% for the next 2 years. The Attorney-General, Kyan Ma, says the government's offer of 3% per year is the same one offered to other public sector unions.
We will continue discussing and negotiating with the union like we did with firefighters, like we did with ambulance officers, like we did with our nurses. And I'm sure we will resolve this. But given one of the requests of the union is to have 20% less face-to-face teaching time, there is still a way to go.
Penalties have been introduced for people living in the Gold Coast region who fail to protect koalas. Danielle Mahe has the details.
Council has made it mandatory for dog owners living in these areas to create koala-friendly backyards. They must either install a fence that keeps koalas out or provide structures to help them escape. Failure to implement these measures will result in a $309 fine. But if an animal or person is attacked, then pet owners will be fined more than $700. Conservation experts welcome the new laws, but some wildlife rescuers fear the increased fines will stop people reporting injured koalas.
The Kremlin is still declining to confirm the death of Wagner boss Yevgeny Prigozhin in a plane crash, citing the need to wait for test results. Meanwhile, President Vladimir Putin has ordered Wagner mercenary fighters to sign an oath of allegiance to the Russian state following their failed mutiny 2 months ago. Putin signed the order with immediate effect after the Kremlin said Western suggestions that Prigozhin had been killed on its orders were an absolute lie. Russia's aviation authority has previously said he was on board a private jet that crashed on Wednesday night near Moscow with no survivors. Demonstrators in South Korea have protested against Japan's discharge of treated radioactive water from the crippled Fukushima nuclear power plant. About 1,000 people took part in the protests in the capital, Seoul. The wastewater release was criticised by countries including South Korea as well as China, which immediately banned imports of Japanese seafood. The move was also opposed by fishing groups in Japan. And space company SpaceX has launched a new crew for the International Space Station orbiting the Earth. The successful launch took place at Cape Canaveral in the US state of Florida. The new crew comprises 4 astronauts from 4 different countries. This is ABC News.
Since time began, humans have asked the big questions.
Does feeling cold make you more likely to catch a cold?
Is my phone secretly listening to me?
Should you keep a tomato sauce in the fridge? Any question you ask, these humans will find you the facts.
What came first, the chicken or the egg?
Whatever it takes. What the FAQ starts Wednesday, August 30 on ABC TV and streaming on ABC iView.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Dale, a dangerous kick in looking for Bontempelli, and now they have to scrap for it. Back to Dale. His hand pass missed the target. Picked up by Dangerfield. Gives it to Henry inside the square and pops through a goal.
Kicks out towards the wing. Massive blood. Massive hands to it from Henry. Can't quite drag it down. The Cats come away with it.
That would have been literally the mark of the century.
He got on Bob initially.
Paused for a photo.
And then just hovered there.
Still something to play for, isn't it? Mark of the year, up for grabs still.
Now up to Vandermeer. Good build up from the Dogs. The kick inside 50 has to be a good one. It lands into the path of Scott, who just has to gather. Hand pass to English in the goal square and kicks through another for the Dogs. Stengel chasing after it close to the boundary line, keeps it alive. Gives it to Henry from the boundary line. Beautiful vision. Neil all alone in the goal square and kicks his first goal in AFL football.
Handball away to Myers, loses it under pressure. Now sweating on it. The Cats are onto it and popping it through Dempsey. Oh, this is very ominous for the Dogs. Towards Treloar. Handball to Bontempelli, slaps it cleverly to Poulter. Time to steady on the left and kick a slick goal. Barely any energy from the Dogs on their celebration.
Yeah, they're celebrating by himself.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Great to have you with us. Geelong by 15 points at half-time over the Western Bulldogs, trying to win to keep their season alive. On the SMS, Marcus from South Melbourne. I do apologise. He said Eagles and Crows is not a dead rubber. The Eagles can avoid the wooden spoon by winning. That's absolutely true. Marcus, North Melbourne winning today and moving off the bottom after the Eagles won last week against the Western Bulldogs. Just quickly, how's this? The Western Bulldogs and GWS playing off for the final spot this weekend. Both of them this year have lost to the West Coast Eagles. GWS way back in round 2 and the Western Bulldogs last week. Stan from Victoria, he says, hi team, enjoying the call. Did we really think the Cats would lie down? Always enjoy Brendan's breakdown of the game. Luke, what about the Pies? Good day, says Stan.
Good, that's in summary. Yeah, good day. Yeah, no, they were better, weren't they, Friday night? They needed to be. They just needed to show that that we're here now. We're on the eve of the finals. They needed just to flex a bit. I mean, the opposition was pretty poor, as we know. But I thought their first quarter and a half was really impressive in terms of how they defended first and foremost, and pressured the ball, and then they had that sort of attacking flair back in terms of how they scored as well, especially from the back half. So yeah, a lot more like the Collingwood that we know. So with a couple of players back, I think they'll be okay.
Yep. Another text, it's anonymous. We like it when you leave your name and where you're listening. It does say where, but great coverage being enjoyed on the banks of the Murray in Strathmerton. Dogs need to fire if they want to play finals in 2023. Otherwise, good night beverage, which I think is a nightcap, isn't it? Good night beverage. Dave in South Melbourne says, 2 handballs for Ugle Hagen, not enough.
Yeah, it's a good point. I did have him written down for question mark, and kind of what has he been up to the first half of footy.
He's one of our most astute listeners, Dave, in South Melbourne. Always texting in Geelong by 15 points. A reminder of the other game, circling back to Marcus's text about West Coast and Adelaide not being a dead rubber, the Eagles also trying to send off a few champs with a win. Shuey and Hearn out there, Nick Naitanui not, but all 3 retiring. Adelaide by 4 points early in the second. Here at the Cattery, the Dogs need to win to set up a final game of the season showpiece in which GWS would need to win over Carlton to play finals and boot out the Dogs. The Cats lead by 15 points, 7-11-53 to 6-2-38. Journey just ringing out around.
Good tune, yep.
One of the best.
Good tune.
One of the best.
Rory Lobb's going to start the centre bounce. It's interesting. Tim English starting deep forward. And that man, Jamara Ugle-Hagan, starting on the bench. So he's had a great year, hasn't he? He's the majority of the year, he's been really impressive, Ugle. He's really shown signs of improvement, and the fact that he's going to be the star that we all think he is, but not his night tonight. Can he have an impact in this second half?
One half to keep their season alive for the Dogs. The Cats by 15 points. Jess Webster.
The debutant Conway going up against Lobb in the ruck. Conway won the tap. Trelaw soccers it off the deck, tumbles it towards half forward to a one-on-one. O'Connor against Scott, and Scott wins the free kick from half forward, sends it to a dangerous position at the top of the square, and Tom Stewart, couple of bites of the cherry and reels in another intercept grab for the Cats.
Wants to give off the handball. Back to De Koning, who's pushed as he kicks. Just shanks his kick slightly, allows in Trelaw for the Dogs. Handball to Bontempelli. Bontempelli fumbles. Out to Trelaw. Whacks through the goal. Just the start the Dogs needed in the second half. Back to 9 points. 7-11-53, plays 7-2-44. 45 seconds in.
Trying to generate a little bit of excitement. It was a brilliant goal, really, wasn't it? A brilliant bit of individual play, but still searching for it, I think, Beej. I'm glad they all ran to Leif Vandermeer, because it was really his desperate dive and pressure to affect the kick from De Koning. Created the miss kick, really. And then Bontempelli had a go. He couldn't handle it. Trelaw, in the end, said, I'll do it myself. And lovely kick. He's had a terrific year too. It's certainly a terrific second half of the year. Adam Trelaw as well, playing a lot more midfield time. So perfect start, the second half for the Dogs.
Top 10 for average disposals per game, Adam Trelaw, and that was his 12th goal of the season from the middle. That bounce, not the best. So we'll throw it up. Margin cut back to 9 points. It's Conway and Lobb in ruck this time. Lobb takes it out of the middle, tumbles a kick inside forward 50 for the Dogs. Norton comes out and meets it. Hand passes to Vandermeer, who fires on goal and kicks another. The Dogs have 3 in a row. And the margin's back to 3 points.
Just like that.
Geelong 7-11-53 to Western Bulldogs 8-2-50. We're 2 minutes into the third term on Grandstand AFL.
Efficiency going forward. Rory Lobb started like a house on fire. Highlighted that he's starting in there, been involved a number of times. Quick entry. Stewart actually, Vandermeer did a good job not to allow Stewart to mark. He got a couple of hands on it, but brought the ball to ground and then got involved back the other way. Got front of the square, I think it was at Norton that gave him the handball. Ran into...
Oh, it was brilliant from Norton. Brilliant contested ball win and turn. Yep, it was.
Ran into, I guess, an unintended goal from about 30 out. It's a great start from the Bulldogs. Exactly what they need. But again, just the energy, just not feeling it.
No.
Not yet, is it? They haven't quite lit the fuse.
No real vibe about the Dogs tonight. Conway taps it to himself, loses it under pressure. Spills out the Lob. Back feeds a handball to Richards. Defensive edge of the square. Chips the Dogs into the middle. Mark Bontempelli. He'll kick to half forward. Off to Vandermeer, who's been busy. Drives the Dogs long. Waitman flying. Doesn't bring it down. At the full live footy. Full forward for the Dogs. Waitman to Libba. Libba snaps the goal.
Wow.
Is that the fuse?
The Dogs have started their second half like a team possessed.
Yep.
And they've hit the front. They're out by 3. 9-2-56 plays 7-11-53. 3 goals in 3.5 minutes to start the second half.
Yeah, there's some spring in the step, Beej. A lot more high fives and high tens, and it's been Rory Lobb, really. I called that out at the start of this quarter. Almost a little bit of surprise, the fact that he started in the centre bounce, and again the All-Australian elect ruckman starting in the goal square for the Dogs, but it's been inspired to this point. He's been involved in every centre clearance. That's 3-zip for the quarter, and the Dogs all of a sudden looking dangerous ahead of the ball as well, winning the ball both in the air, on the ground. I thought Waitman had to sit there and had a perfect opportunity to take the mark, but butted up at ground level. Handballed it out to Liberatore, who spread forward from the centre, and wow, what a start.
Game on here at the Cattery. From the restart, we're going to have another recalled bounce. So Geelong got out to a 21-point advantage when Ollie Henry kicked his second at the 28-minute mark of the second quarter. The Dogs have now got the last 4 either side of half-time. from the middle. Lob against Conway, spills to Bontempelli, and the Dogs move it forward again. A searching kick to half forward. Stewart got hands to it. Was he infringed? Yes. Free kick to... In fact, it's not going to Stewart. The free kick is going to Jed Buse instead.
Buse with the free kick. Second generation Cat. Inside his defensive 50. Long kick to the logo on the Hickey stand wing. Neil hands to it. Through it goes. Crozier picks it up. Handball to Bontempelli, who'll kick the Dogs around the wing towards half forward. Stewart can't mark. Live footy on the ball on the ground, picked up there by Buse. Handball to Holmes, handball to Atkins. Atkins will stop and chip the Cats to the wing and Parfitt. So the Cats finally, with a little bit of the ball, Parfitt wrenched to ground and maybe deserving a 50, but Dogs leading by 3, 5 minutes into the third.
Kicks laterally to Colin Jasny at centre half. Back up towards half forward over the head of Henry. Out the back, Stengel in a one-on-one. Couldn't take possession. O'Connor has a go, gives it to Stengel. He's tackled over the boundary line. So we'll have a throw in between wing and half forward. Geelong into attack. Trail the Dogs by 3.
That's better from Liam Jones, BJ. That's the Liam Jones at his best. Right in the back pocket of his opponent there. No space at all. Affected the spoil. That's a big change already in this second half.
Umpire spins it in on the wing. Lob works his way to the front, double palms it down, straight towards Atkins. Lob following up. Gives the handball to Treloar. Playing like a man who's copped a rocket at half-time, Rory Lob. Come out, energised, slapping it boundary side, but Dangerfield bursting onto it. Lacing out a short kick here for Stengel.
Kick wasn't bad.
Marks 47 metres out, wide out at right half forward. 5 metres in from the boundary line. Nothing he likes for the time being. He'll set it up to the pocket. Looking for Henry. It nearly gets to him. Guess who? Bontempelli sticking up a hand. Swats it away. Throw in right forward pocket for the Cats.
So Geelong trying to send off a couple of their favourites tonight, and Isaac Smith and Sam Menegola playing their last games. The Dogs playing for finals from the ball in. Dangerfield over around it, picked up by Crozier, who gives it to Liberatore. Skies it to the wing, no one there for the Dogs, and De Koning takes the intercepting grab right on halfway. Western Bulldogs with the last 4 goals of the game either side of half-time. De Koning sends it into the centre square to Stewart, who's marked defensive side of the centre circles.
Stewart stabs it short. The man in his farewell game, Izzy Smith, in the middle of Cardinia Park. Bulldogs by 3. Smith wheels around onto that trusty left, drives it inside 50. Massive pack off hands. Myers coming through, keeps it moving forward. Liberatore, let him up. He'll kick the Dogs back into the middle of the ground towards the wing. Bouncing ball. Slapped on by Mullen. Sets a little bit of a task for Stewart. Keeps going Mullen. Gathers at half-back for the Cats. He's tackled to ground. Umpire wants to ball it up. Right half forward for the Dogs. They've kicked 3 goals to zip in this third term to turn a 15-point halftime deficit into a 3-point lead.
Conway and Lob in ruck. Lob palms it down to Williams. Hand pass over the head of West, but he got a kind bounce and then spun beautifully out of traffic. Hand passes inside forward 50 to Baker, who's met heavily in a Parfitt tackle and brought to ground. Holding the ball is the call. Free kick to the Cats in the back 50. Parfitt will take the free kick for the home side.
Had a tweet from Shauna listening in Albany of WA. It's the International Day of the Dog today. Did you know?
Dog Day.
Wasn't in the first half, but Bulldogs back in it. Smith in the back pocket for the Cats. Long kick towards Stanley. Hands to it. Doesn't quite drag it down. De Koning coming through. Jars out to Bontempelli. Dogs quickly back the other way. Poulter to Liberatore. He'll kick into the middle of the ground, and Treloar away to West, looks into the pocket, and Baker is able to take it 40 metres out, 45-degree angle, and try and kick a 4th of this third term for the Dogs.
Liberatore heavily involved again, but I don't think he quite gets a credit for... He's quite a neat little ball user, though, isn't he, by foot? You know how elite he is with his hands and his clearance work, but...
Good decision-making too, yeah.
Makes good decisions, clear. He's the one that got the ball back through the corridor there with a little pop kick that went about 20 metres, and then we're able to get it to the open side. of the ground.
Baker on the set shot. He sends it right. 4 points to the Dogs' advantage. Trailed by 15 at the half. We've played 10 minutes in this third term.
It's been the big three in the middle, though, isn't it? Bontempelli, Treloar, Liberatore, 5, 4 and 4 possessions and dominating the contest. Plus 8 for the quarter already, the Dogs. They've turned it around.
Smith with the long kick in, but it's a turnover. West trying to slip the Mullen tackle. He gets a hand pass out. It's a free kick to West. Oh, it's caught high.
It's been good too, West. It's been lively.
Geelong fans aren't happy. West with a free kick at right half forward. Send the Dogs inside the arc again. Ugle-Hagan had space. The kick goes over his head out the back. Baker couldn't take it cleanly, but he was caught high. Free kick. Oscar Baker wins the free. He'll line up for another shot at goal. Pretty similar spot to where he had his shot a couple of moments ago.
What are we saying?
Nah, not a heap in that. Oh.
It's a shocker.
It was across the shoulder. The first contact here. Well, gee. Made sure the umpire saw it, didn't he? Or saw something. Anyway, got to capitalise here, the Dogs. Everything going their way at the moment. This is almost exactly the same spot as his last one, isn't it?
See if he can learn from his mistakes. Oscar Baker came across from the D's in the off-season from 40 out. This time, the same result. Away to the left for a minor score. Dogs by 5. 9-4-58 to Geelong 7-11-53. 11 played third term on Grandstand AFL.
Overcorrected. Missed fairway right, missed fairway left.
Yeah. 7 inside 50s to 2. Like 7 inside 50s to 3 goals 2 this quarter.
Stewart with the kick in up towards Nevitt. Nice overhead mark. Under a little bit of late pressure from Poulter.
I think what's noticeable for the Bulldogs is that the ability now to protect the corridor and stop the switch for the catch, which we know most teams rely on heavily, but that is forcing Geelong to kick it down the line, predominantly to a contest that gives them the best chance to defend.
That's what Parfitt does, and Bailey Dale comes across. He's called by Brendan Goddard and closes it down, punches it out, throw in on the wing. Dogs by 5 points. They need to win to keep their season alive and the AFL season alive in many respects.
Yeah, I reckon headquarters would be quietly waiting for them too, wouldn't they?
Geelong haven't scored yet in this third quarter. 3-2 the way of the Dogs from the ball in. Stanley picks it up. He's tackled by Poulter and brought to ground. We'll have a stoppage on the logo broadcast wing. Right in front of our commentary position here on Grandstand AFL. Halfway through this third term, it's the Dogs by 5 points. English and Ruck palms it down. Ricochets the way of McLean. Can't take it cleanly. Nevitt brings him to ground. We'll have another stoppage as the umpire almost topsy-turvy moment. We'll have another stoppage on the wing.
Jake Mollison, the slick hair.
Slipped on some of his hair gel there. Another ball up coming up as McLean can't escape.
Works as a broker at the Commonwealth Bank, Jacob Mollison. When he's not umpiring.
Umpire puts it up here, Mollison, and English slaps it down to West, who kicks the Dogs inside 50. Over the head of Norton, out the back it is. Buse picking it up. He's tackled quickly, close to the line. We'll get a ball up.
Kill the Cats, ball in. Goddard, when would you bring in Ted Closey, the sub, for his first game?
I'll get back to you. I've got to be honest, I don't know a heap about Ted Closey. Jess?
What I learnt about him today is that his dad was actually Grandstand AFL own, Mitch Cleary's high school deputy principal. It's a tenuous link at best. But
here we go.
So he's a local boy, is he?
Yeah.
So ball brought back into play. O'Connor. And the pressure as he kicked it, and it's a turnover. Poulter marks close to the boundary line, left half forward.
Been a good contributor, Poulter. The goal in that second quarter.
We'll put it to a dangerous position. Ugle-Hagan had a good chance. It spills to Norton. His hand pass to Bailey Williams. Tries to get around a couple. Couldn't find his boot. That's holding the ball. Free kick to the Cats in the defensive 50.
Bulldogs dominating though.
Smith wants to peel off a kick out towards the wing. Richards comes off his man and takes the intercept mark for the Dogs. Handball away to Keith. He's tackled quickly. Taken to ground by Dempsey. And a ball up. Hickey stand wing. third term has been all the Dogs. Kicked 3 goals in the opening 3.5 minutes to turn a 15-point halftime deficit into a 3-point lead. Izzy Smith able to get a handball away towards Stanley. Bontempelli in there. Extracts it for the Dogs. Away to Daniel. Tumbles a kick inside 50. Bouncing ball into the pocket. Getting back O'Connor. Onto it for the Cats. He'll thump a clear and kick to the wing. Through the hands there of Dale. Out the back Jones. Handball away. Buse picks it up there for the Cats. Back to O'Connor.
Sweeping hand pass to Nevitt. Had a bit of a fumble close to the boundary line. Hand passes to Holmes, who can keep it alive. Runs across the interchange gates and sends it to half forward to a one-on-one. Neil beats O'Donnell. Runs inside forward 50. Spare player in the goal square. Myers bangs it through. And that is the Cats' first score of this third quarter. And they restore the lead. 8-11, 59 to the Western Bulldogs, 9-4, 58. 15.5 travel, third term on Grandstand AFL. Luke Ball and Brendan Goddard.
Well, it's their third inside 50 for the quarter. Haven't even looked like it. The Bulldogs dominating from the get-go. It's 8-2 clearances Bulldogs way, and that's where it's started. But it's the first time they've been able just to get a bit of flow into their ball movement. There was a couple of mistakes along the way. Nevitt fumbled, had time to pick it up, and then Holmes, a long penetrating kick to a one-on-one on Neil and O'Donnell, 2 young guys just finding their feet at AFL level. And then the assist king, Brian Myers, is finding himself in a heap of space out the back. Can't miss those to the goal square, so it's been all the Bulldogs this quarter.
Stanley out of the middle for the Cats. Handball to Menengola. Drops it cold. Allows in Dale for the Dogs. Handball, though, too hot for Liberatore. Stanley picks it up. Tumbles the Cats inside 50. Richards onto it. Kicks towards Treloar on the wing, who marks and gives it off to Bailey Williams. Long kick to half forward. Zach Guthrie. Out points. Jamara Ugle-Hagan takes the defensive mark. Kicks to DeConing.
He continues the switch to the outer side to a one-on-one. Nevitt against Baker. Baker with the fist brought it to ground. And they dive on top. Is that going to be holding the ball? The umpire's circling. It is. Is it Baker Williams at the bottom of that pack?
He's already on the ground.
It's McLean, in fact, giving away the free kick. Nevitt takes the free kick for the Cats, gives it to Stewart. Stewart pops it down the line of Myers. He's marked on the wing. Kicks along to half forward. Neil against English, who stood strong in front position and takes the intercepting grab.
English at right half back here for the Dogs. Cats leading by a point. Surrendered the lead. The Liberatore goal. Third of the term for the Dogs. Taking it back through Brian Myers. Kick around the wing from Jones towards the pack. Down in front, Liberatore Rose. Handball away to Baker. Dogs quickly down the Hickey stand wing. Handball to Ugle-Hagan. To Scott. Back to Baker. He'll chip a ball inside 50 into the pocket. Guthrie leads the race there. He takes it out. Throw in right forward pocket. Here for the Dogs. Cats by a point. 18 minutes played. Third term.
Another good crowd in here at Cardinia Park. And that new grandstand's going to be finished. It's going to be a very good vibe down here. Ball back into play. No winner from the stoppage, and we'll have a ball up. 40 out from goal. Cats by a point. They led by 15 at half-time from the stoppage. Myers was stripped to the footy. McLean picks it up, gives it to West, and now to Liberatore. Hooks the kick around the corner to the top of the square. Lob against Kolajasny. Kolajasny couldn't complete the mark. Lob fights for it at ground level. Gets out the back to Stewart, who concedes it behind by handballing it over. And scores are back level. 59 apiece. The Cats 8-11, 59 to the Dogs 9-5.
Well, they bring it in quickly and get themselves in a pickle, the Cats. The Koning's handball straight to Ugle-Hagan. His kick short for Waitman. Here's a good one low down. Takes the sprawling mark deep in the left forward pocket.
Yourself a bit more room, Cody, yeah. He's going to take his full 30 here, get his breath back. You'd like it from here.
45-degree angle, left forward pocket. Right side for a right footer. Cody Waitman on the right. Snatches back the lead for the Dogs. They're out by a goal. 10-5-65 plays 8-11-59. 20 minutes into the third term on Grandstand AFL.
Now it's the Cats almost playing a bit like the Bulldogs did in the first half. Unforced errors. They're under the immense pressure in their D50, the Cats, with just the amount of inside 50s the Bulldogs have on this quarter. Just weighted numbers, cut at 5-11. And the Bulldogs are doing a really good job just applying up pressure. Waitman got on the end of that one, but Vandermeer earlier, we know, applied some good pressure. McLean's up there, Scott at other times. And then just to compound the issue, when Geelong do have a bit of time and space, a couple of unforced errors.
So the Dogs back out in front by a goal. And we're back in the middle. Liberatore tried to tow it off the deck, couldn't find his boot, half it over the top of him. Ball spills out to Atkins. He's set upon by West and Trelaw, and we'll have a stoppage close to the centre circles. Conway and Lobb in ruck again, and whistle on play. Free kick going the way of Lobb. It was taken high, and he can send the Dogs forward once more.
Lobb will wheel and go quickly. Long high kick inside 50. English launching, doesn't mark. Hughes able to rove it. Handball to O'Connor. Handball away to Holmes. Cats running it out of halfback to Menengola. Back to O'Connor. Kick up to the wing. Bailey Dale launching at it. He doesn't mark. Dangerfield diving on it. On all fours. It spits out to Atkins. Cats quickly forward. Parfitt out in front of Henry. He's running laterally and he marks. 30 out. Left forward pocket. A very minor angle to the left-hand side.
Just a crucial contested ball, wasn't it, here on the wing. Dangerfield dived on it, as you said, and enough Bulldogs around. Geelong player.
And they just got it back to the corridor there.
Atkins, and then they had that player, Parfitt, who, as we said, really is playing a good game tonight. His best game of the year by a fair bit. And once he was out on the corridor, a nice kick to advantage.
To bring the Cats back level. Henry drives it through. He's got 3. Scores level. 10-5-65, plays 9-11-65. 22 minutes into the third term on Grandstand AFL. Elsewhere, the wooden spoon and the number 1 pick might be changing hands
Maybe
again.
North Melbourne are just smarter than we think.
The West Coast Eagles lead by 12 points.
They're in form.
8-3-51, plays 5-9-39. Harley Reid has had a roller coaster past 8 days.
They're in form, the Eagles, and they've got a big reason, haven't they, to send off 2 of their champs into the sunset. It's all happening.
I'd love to see a live feed of Harley Reid watching the
locked on camera
a couple of games today. Back in the middle we go. Conway wins the tap. Bontempelli scraps through to Grandler. Was picked up by Parfitt. Just got boot to ball. Scrubs it forward to Myers. Lovely pick up. Gives it back to Conway, the first gamer. Hand passes off to Menengola in his last game. To Holmes from half forward. It's a wayward kick inside forward 50. Just bounces inside the boundary line. Then over for a throw in. 30 around from the Cats goal. They're kicking to the players' stand end of the ground in this third quarter. Scores a level here at Cardinia Park. 23 into the third quarter.
There's that pick up from Conway.
Yeah, he moves well, doesn't he?
Just had his ankle there, that handball for Brian Myers, and he's running past like a midfielder / half-backer.
Neil in the ruck, taps it down, ricochets to Atkins, handball to Dangerfield, in the pocket, hooking it back, missing, just missing to the right-hand side. Far too early for a handy point, but it does give the Cats the lead.
Had to go there, mate.
Yeah. Every time I hear Toby Conway too, I think of the Mighty Ducks. Charlie Conway, Captain Conway.
David Daniel with kicking duties for the Western Bulldogs. Really in multiple minds at the moment. Has a bounce, a stuttering approach out of the goal square, then kicks to the broadcast wing through the hands of Scott out the back of Stewart for the Cats. Gives it to Menengola and then to Holmes close to the boundary line. Hand passes inboard to Stewart, has a fumble, dives on the foot, he needs to get rid of it. They dive on top of him. Umpire says play on. It's picked up by Atkins. Hand passes into the path of Menengola. Has a couple of goes at it, can't find his boot. He must have found his boot because play on is the call to Guthrie, to Parfitt. Don't know how he saw Buse, but he did. Can run to 50, shoot towards goal. It's touched on the line. The build-up had a bit of everything. But it is a rush behind the way of the Cats. Their margin is 2 points. 9-13, 67 at 10-5, 65, 24 gone. Third term grandstand AFL.
Still want to just shepherd that through. Ollie.
He's feeling it, Ollie. He wants that mark of the year, isn't he? It was amazing build-up there. Gee, Tom Atkins has got the Cats going over the last 5 minutes.
Cats win it again in the middle through Parfitt. Kick inside, attacking 50. No one able to mark. Crozier brings it down to Koning there. Handball towards Henry. Slips. Ball bounces out. Throw in 45 around from the attacking goal for the Cats. And after it was all with the Dogs in the early part of this third term, the pendulum of the game absolutely belonging to the Cats at the moment. Umpire spins it in. English palms it down in front. Straight to Holmes though. Dumps it on the right boot. Kicks to the left forward pocket. Neppert can't quite gather it. Coming through. Picking it up O'Donnell. He's tackled quickly. And wrapped up for a ball up in the left forward pocket. Here for the Cats. They're pressing at the moment.
Dogs by 2 at quarter time. The Cats by 15 at the half. Game's on a knife edge here in the third. And the ball up. English palms it down. Myers gets the kick away, but it's a free kick going the way of the Dogs. Is it for a throw, perhaps? Anyway, Caleb Daniel to take the free kick in the back pocket. Cats by 2 points. Daniel chips short to Bontempelli, just the required distance. And passes to Richards from defensive 50. Nice kick out wide. Finds Crozier, defensive side of halfway.
Crozier kicks on his left, forward of the logo. Hold turnover. The Koning marks for the Cats. Whacks it long back to half forward. O'Donnell goes up and takes the defensive mark, kicks across the defensive arc to Treloar for the Dogs, and on to Bailey Dale, peeling off a kick out towards Poulter, who reels it in with one hand right on the centre line, close to the boundary line on the Red Hickey stand wing.
It's a great goal in the second quarter. Caleb Poulter from the wing sends it to a contest at half forward. Conway almost takes a great grab, couldn't complete it, spills to Bontempelli, gives it to Vandermeer, off to Treloar, gets on the right, scrubs it forward a couple of metres, picked up by Menengola, who sends it back down the wing. Neal in a one-on-one, was beaten by Ugle-Hagan, it spills to Dale, he tumbles the kick back to half forward, Menengola's standing in the way and takes the intercept grab, and we can all take a breath and try that again. Cats by 2.
Menengola in his last game of the Cats had a lot of it early. 20th disposal coming up. Kicks towards the logo. Neal going up. O'Donnell at the back. And the umpire's paid the mark. It's paid it to Neal. Made a man in front. Neal with it on the logo. Handball away to Menengola. Kick charged down by Poulter. Slapped on there by Treloar. Dogs back the other way. West. Handball. Turnover. Cats with it. Bose to Menengola. Handball to Parfitt. He loses it. Dogs come the other way through Daniel.
Kicks to this broadcast wing. Lob chasing after it. Will collect on the bounce. And passes backwards to Williams. So chips on the 45 to Vandermeer inside the centre square. Can wheel and go. Send it in the Ugle-Hagan direction. But standing strong in front is Holmes. Standing in the hole. Takes the intercept grab and then flares his kick out wide. It's beautifully weighted and hits Dempsey on the chest on the outer wing.
Dempsey wants to chip a ball forward for Parfitt. Getting involved Dale. Live footy on the wing. Menengola picks it up. Handball knocked down. Daniel there for the Dogs. Handball to Crozier. Kicks around the wing to Scott. Has a bit of space. On his left foot. Has Ugle-Hagan in the pocket. Oh, great defensive effort to Koning. Spills down to Ugle-Hagan. Tackled by Kolodjasny. And the handball goes away to Zach Guthrie, who shakes Ugle-Hagan out of his boots and then kicks back to Holmes at fullback. And the Cats hold on. They lead by 2 points.
Chips to Buse in the right back pocket. Long left in this third quarter. Buse short to Izzy Smith. Also playing his final game of AFL footy, the 4-time premiership player and Norm Smith medalist. The first goal of the game. Sends his kick down the line to a pack off hands. Richards gathers for the Dogs. Can't find a target by hand. Dangerfield scrapping for it at ground level. forces things to a halt and we'll have a stoppage.
Just in a little holding pattern at the moment. Late in this third term, umpire puts it aloft. Conway slapping it down. Smith able to gather it. Kicks on the right around the boundary, going up Dangerfield. And it's knocked out of play. Throw in on the wing. 2 points. The Cats lead. Dogs need to win to keep on moving in 2023.
Another sub has been used tonight. Lockie McNeil, the sub for the Dogs, and Ted Closey, the first gamer, the sub for the Cats. 18-year-old Geelong product, waiting patiently for his chance to run out onto the field from the ball in. Daniel emerges with it for the Dogs. Scrambles a kick forward over the head of Colin Jasny. Slips the Ugle-Hagen tackle. Hand passes defensively to De Koning, who shares it with Guthrie. Inside defensive 50. Kicks laterally to Mullen. He can chip short to Izzy Smith at centre-half back.
Loops a handball over the top to Bose, who goes back to Izzy Smith. We'll feed another handball over the top. Back to Bose. Wants to go wide with his handball. All the way out to Stengel. Nowhere really to go, so kicks around the wing towards the contest. And Jones juggles it for the Dogs. Just backward of the logo on the Hickey stand wing. Lights off a kick into the middle. Under pressure as he did. Turnover. Holmes picks it up. Gives it off to Smith. Kicks the Cats inside 50. Dangerfield and Richards. Bouncing ball in the pocket. Richards wants the boundary. And he'll get it. And the umpire says spin it in. He did pretty well, Teddy Richards. Cats still by 2 points. Right on the stroke of three-quarter time.
He did well, Eddie Richards. He did.
You don't like the Teddy nickname?
Well, I just think of the Swans premiership player.
Yeah.
Say that, to be honest.
It's true.
Yeah.
Ball spun back into play. Lob. Fists it down to Dale overran it. Picked up by Neil. He's coughed it up to Bontempelli in a bind. Kicks it on. Jams it on the boot. Is out of bounds on the full. Free kick to Geelong.
Just got to hold
Going
up
the way
here,
of Colin Jasny, the defender, right half forward. Only a matter of seconds left on the clock. He'll have to find a target quickly. Pokes it into the pocket magnificently. Dangerfield on the lead. He marks 35 out from goal, 10 in from the boundary.
Well, there goes the siren. Now, it's going to be a tough shot at goal, we know that, but the goal here would just undo, you feel. I mean, it's been the Dogs' quarter, no doubt about that. 4 goals 3 to 2 goals 2, but some of their ball use, some of their kicking, there's been some real coach kills, and even that then, they had plenty of time to plug up every little bit of space inside 50 for the Cats, and Dangerfield found an uncontested mark.
Big kick on the three-quarter time siren. If anyone can do it, it's Patrick Dangerfield! He's ignited the home fans here in Cardinia Park in their final game of season 2023. The Dangerfield kick after the three-quarter time siren has given them a valuable 8-point lead at the final change. It is Geelong 10-13-73, leading the Western Bulldogs 10-5-65. Your goal kickers for the Cats, Ollie Henry has 3, and singles to Dangerfield, Smith, Stengel, Dempsey, Atkins, Myers, Neal. And then for the Western Bulldogs, a couple each to Lobb and Norton, and singles to Chalor, Waitman, Liberatore, Vandermeer, Poulter and English.
Well, it's all before the Dogs. Luke Ball and Brendan Goddard will tell us what they need to do to get back into this contest when we continue here on Grandstand AFL. It's all set up. The Cats by 8 points as we turn for home.
ABC Listen.
The police say they can't be sure the two fires are linked.
A number of anti-Asian posters have been...
admit the coincidence is highly suspicious.
I was only 8 when my family was targeted as part of a series of terror attacks.
Join Crispian Chan on this deeply personal investigation.
I need to know exactly how it happened and what they'd say now if I found them.
Firebomb, the new series of the Unravel True Crime podcast. Find it on the ABC Listen app.
Grandstand AFL.
Now streaming every match on the ABC Listen app.
Look for the AFL button.
Handball to Bontempelli. Bontempelli fumbles out to Treloar. Whacks through the goal. Just the start the Dogs needed in the second half.
Tumbles a kick inside forward 50 for the Dogs. Norton comes out and meets it. Hand passes to Vandermeer, who fires on goal and kicks another.
Drives the Dogs long. Waitman flying, doesn't bring it down. At the full live footy. Full forward for the Dogs. Waitman to Liver. Liver snaps the goal.
Wow.
The Dogs have started their second half like a team possessed.
Yep.
And they've hit the front.
He sends it to half forward to a one-on-one. Neil beats O'Donnell, runs inside forward 50. Spare player in the goal square. Myers bangs it through. And that is the Cats' first score of this third quarter.
The Konings handball straight to Ugle-Hagan is kicked short for Waitman. Here's a good one low down. Cody Waitman on the right. Snatches back the lead for the Dogs. On all fours, it spits out to Atkins. Cats quickly forward. Harford out in front of Henry. He's running laterally and he marks. To bring the Cats back level. Henry drives it through.
Big kick on the three-quarter time siren. If anyone can do it, it's Patrick Dangerfield. He's ignited the home fans here in Cardinia Park.
The 2023 AFL season.
On radio,
ABC Sport Digital.
and now streaming on the ABC Listen app.
Cats leading by 8 points at three-quarter time on Grandstand AFL. The Western Bulldogs need to win if they want to play finals. Fran from Melbourne, hi guys. I want to say thanks to everyone at the ABC for the 2023 season of footy. Doing what you all do and reading our texts, making us all a part of it. Go Pies, says Fran. Brendan Goddard, Luke Ball.
Yeah, I got this one. It's, as we know, the Bulldogs start was electric, wasn't it? I think kicked the first three. Yeah, 4 in a row when they finished the second quarter. Dominated clearances, dominated inside 50, didn't allow Stewart or Geelong defenders to intercept mark, intercept possession. That was a really good start. And then defensively, when the Geelong did win it, the Bulldogs were able to slow them down, stop the switch, close up the corridor, force Geelong to dump the footy, and then it was the Bulldogs that actually looked dangerous when they won the ball in their back half. They were able to open up the game, get the ball to the open side, expose some of the lack of transition and defensive transition from the Geelong midfielders, and then probably didn't score enough. I felt probably with their dominance for 10 to 12 minutes. That's how dominant it was, and then Geelong just, no pun intended, just clawed their way back into it, didn't they? They managed to get more speed on the ball, get it to the open side, switch it, and then got back involved around clearances. Atkins, you made mention, Bawley got him back into the game. It was evident Dangerfield, when he's in their short stints, he's spending a bit more time up forward because their lack of their tools and their firepower up there with Hawkins and Cameron out. But when he's around the ball, it's intense. Parfitt ended up getting on there a couple of times, but it was all Geelong that last 5 or 6 minutes, and that was dominant. Inside 50 count was early, but they nearly got it on an even keel. I think it was 14-12 in the end. It was 8-2 early days in Bulldogs' favour. So managed to get themselves back in front, and then Dangerfield, just with the dying minutes, they looked like they hemmed them in again. Slow play outside 50, about 60 out, get numbers back. They would have known how long was left in the quarter. They would have known it was at least under 1 minute. So then, judging by a bit of sense and feel, they knew that it must have been close to quarter time, probably under 20 seconds. They do put up the signs on the sidelines, as some of us know, so they knew that the time they just got to get numbers back there and take away that space. Even the positioning on Richards, just take it. That's the only place that Dangerfield could have led up and got the ball in, and just his positioning was poor. And they're great players too. Seize the moment, big moment. Dangerfield, three-quarter siren gone, and slots it from the, what do we call it, the Ablett Junior pocket, or you call it the Tom Hawkins pocket? Ablett's going to get his own stand, I think, senior and junior, so Hawkins can have the pocket.
Are they going
right
to call it the Ablett stand, do you think?
Surely.
What about Joel Selwood?
No, let's get back to footy here, mate. So, massive last quarter. Yeah, I know, but then I just moved on quickly, mate. It's not that important. We can talk about that after the game. I know you love that kind of thing, but yeah, the Cats just got themselves back in the game. So I know it's an obvious thing to say, but the first 5 or 6 minutes here, obviously really important. It was, as we see, Closey actually now gets his opportunity sub.
Into the centre bounce.
Yeah, Nevitt's off. Can I take over here? And he's gone straight into the centre bounce. So great faith in the young fella.
Number 40, David Wojcinski's old number. Rory Lobb again being favoured in the centre bounce.
Too,
yeah, he's a little bit taller. But Rory Lobb again starting in the rough.
Secondary ball up to get us underway. The Cats by 8 points. There he is, Closey. Can't quite get a kick away. Fresh airy.
Close.
Waitman winning it back for the Dogs. Handball away to Treloar. He'll kick laterally. Out to left half forward. Mark taken by Baker. Looks into the pocket. Looking for a leading English. English too big. He marks deep in the left forward pocket.
Well, it's you'd have to say it's been a nice little magnet shift. Start of the second half, it was Rory Lobb who got the Dogs going, and he's gone with it again. English looked threatening at times in that third quarter. This time he was able to slip. Sam DeConning, who again gave him way too much space, was caught napping, and English takes really an uncontested mark. Should kick this.
An early heat check in the fourth for the Dogs. English kicks the goal. Will that ignite the Dogs? His second, and it's back to 2 points. 11-5-71 plays 10-13-73.
Perfect start to the quarter for the Dogs. Rory Lobb again in the ruck. It's fascinating, isn't it, that again we're harping on it, but the man that we think is going to be the All-Australian ruckman, he's been moved to the goal square to great effect there. So they draw first blood. Can they go on with the Dogs? This is where a team that is playing finals, or the one that wants to play finals next week, actually has a ruthless edge and goes on with it, runs this game out. More to play for.
Dogs for the first goal of the last. Back in the middle we go. Stanley with the tap down. Treloar feeds it to Bontempelli. Gets it on the left boot. It's not going to be 15. Menegola knocks it away from Baker. Ball in dispute in the centre square. Lobb taps it down to Crozier, who jams it on the boot towards half forward. From behind, Norton makes a contest, brings it to ground. Picked up by Menegola, who's brought to ground and tackled. Stoppage at half forward for the Dogs.
Really has been Bontempelli, Treloar, Liberatore. They're the three big guns in the centre bounce.
Umpire puts it aloft. Lobb trying to take it out of the ruck. He's got nowhere to go. And another ball upcoming. Left half forward. Lobb again. Both rucks with hands on it. Coming down towards Bowes, who again has nowhere to go. Try once more.
It's the most ruck time that Rory Lobb's played almost this year in one game, isn't it? And you can just see growing confidence. He's aggressive. He's having a physical impact. It's good to see.
Treloar gets boot to ball, but there's a whistle on play. Free kick to Geelong, going the way of Parfitt at right half back for the Cats. The Western Bulldogs by 2 points at quarter time. The Cats by 15 at half time, by 8 at three-quarter time. They hold a slim 2-point advantage here early in the last. Parfitt long down the line to a contest. Henry will float across, decided not to fly. Ball gets out the back to Bowes. Got the hand pass out, but it's a turnover. O'Donnell gives it to Jones. His hand pass missed Bontempelli. Picked up by Lobb. Has to escape the tackle. He does, but he's coughed it up to Atkins. He coughs it up to Daniel at half back for the Dogs. Scrubs a kick forward to Treloar from centre half back. Cool, calm, collected. Hits up English at right half back.
So English goes for a little run. He's going to get 50 as well, English, and he sprints away down the western wing towards half forward. Attacking point of the square. Feeds Treloar with the handball. In stride. Treloar pulls the trigger and takes back the lead. Treloar's second. And most importantly, the Dogs back in front. 12-5-77. Plays 10-13-73. 4 minutes into the fourth.
Well, the runner needs to run out some smelling salts or something to Sam DeConning. He's been asleep at the start of this last quarter. He was asleep when that last one came into Tim English. Took a mark 20 metres out directly in front. And then again, giving away a 50-metre penalty.
Was it him? I actually think it was Holmes.
Was it? Okay, well, I apologise if that's the case. But even then, Treloar just ambled up next to Tim English. 60 metres out from goal. Adam Treloar, this is a bloke who's had 27 possessions and a goal at this point. Been probably the Dogs' best player. And ran in and kicked an easy goal from 35 metres out. So the Cats caught napping at the start of this quarter.
The Dogs have made their sub as well. McNeil's coming to the game for Vandermeer. Both subs injected into the game as Liberatore wins the clearance for the Dogs. Tumbles a kick inside forward, 50 to full forward. Norton couldn't take it cleanly. Waitman does, gives it to English. Now off to West, his flying shot at goal is missing to the near side from Minor. Dogs by 5 points, 12-6, 78 to Geelong, 10-13, 73. 5 minutes into the final quarter on Grandstand AFL.
Just that man again, Lob. That was another great tap to Liberatore, another clearance, but he's getting on top, getting great service. The Bulldogs midfielders from Lob.
It's ironic, isn't it, really? This is a guy who's played really, 2%, low percentage ruck time all year, and he's the key to the win tonight.
Richards drives it inside 50. Waitman rows the pack and kicks the goal. The Dogs playing like they do want to play finals. A couple for Cody. I know it sounds counterintuitive, but it hasn't always looked like it tonight. They're out by 11 points, 13-6, 84. Plays 10-13, 73. 6 minutes into the fourth term.
So it's the Dogs' biggest lead of the game that they've had now, 11 points.
It's carbon copy of that third quarter, isn't it? It's starting at centre square bound, starting at stoppages, clearances, Lob dominating, great service to his mids, and midfield dominating Treloar. An unbelievable start to this quarter, getting involved, Liberatore. And it's not pretty, is it? It's just ground position, it's contest. It's
22 possessions to 3 this quarter, 5 inside 50s to 1. They're just owning it.
From the restart, Lob takes possession out of the ruck, but he's tackled immediately. We'll do it all again. He tangles with Stanley, or Conway rather, who wins the tap. The Cats have turned it over. Dale just gets boot to ball. Ball in dispute inside the centre square. Picked up by Dempsey. He gives it to Holmes. He scraps a kick forward. It's intercepted by Caleb Daniel at centre half back for the Dogs. The margin is 11 points.
Daniel does a full 360 and a little bit more as he kicks laterally. Away to Jones. He'll kick around the western wing in the Ugle-Hagen direction. Up in front, he takes the mark. Now he looks inside 50. English offering a lead in that direction. Over the back it goes. Stewart tracking it back. Handball for the Cats away to Buse in their back pocket. Handball to Mullen, to De Koning, to Izzy Smith, who snaps around the corner. Out to the wing, a bouncing ball. Richards getting there for the Dogs. And knocked out of his hands out of play. Throw in on the wing. Bulldogs lead by 11. 13-6, 84, plays 10-13, 73. Nearly 8 played in the fourth.
So McNeil's come on. Vandermeer's been subbed off, so they've gone like for like. I thought Vandermeer actually provided a bit of spark in that third quarter. So over to McNeil to make sure he has an impact in this last quarter.
Conway palms it down, looking for Smith, who couldn't take it cleanly. It goes over the boundary line, so we'll do it all again. Still between wing and half forward, the Dogs into attack. Ball spun back into play. Conway against Lob. Treloar picks it up, hacks it forward. A tumbling kick inside forward 50 to a contest. Off hands. Mullins there for the Cats. Tackled, but got the hand pass out to O'Connor, who gives it to Stewart. His hand pass to Colin Jasny, who slipped over. Ball spills loose, picked up by Bontempelli, gives it to English. Sweeping hand pass looking for Ugle-Hagen. Intercepted by Closey, the first gamer. Gives it to Stewart and now to O'Connor. He's clear and kick to the outer side. Bounces past Henry. Might come back as Dale picks it up. Gives it to Daniel. Now to Richards from left half forward. Long kick into the pocket is wayward and out of bounds for a throw-in, but they'll get a forward 50 stoppage. The Dogs, the ball in 10 metres around from their goal. They lead by 11 points.
Last 2 quarters, Western Bulldogs kicking 3 goals in the opening 3 minutes of the third term and 3 in the first 5 of the fourth. Forward 50 stoppage for them here. English slapping it down. Dangerfield fighting after it. Still a live footy in the pocket. Liberatore. Handball out, straight to Holmes. Handball's around the boundary and Treloar carries it out. Another throw in, left forward pocket.
Dog supporters over there in that little pocket, starting to find a bit of voice. They can sniff a September appearance.
They'll still have to wait for the Giants tomorrow. If the Giants can beat Carlton without Paddy Cripps, the Dogs will be out anyway, but to keep their season alive.
And the ball in, De Koning had a fumble. And plenty of numbers around the contest. We'll have a stoppage, 35 out, I'll say, from the Dogs' goal, if you want to get specific. Norton looking a little proppy off the ball. And there's a whistle on play from the ball up. Free kick going to Geelong. Patrick Dangerfield, the recipient in the back 50. Norton does look like he's perhaps injured that left shoulder. We'll keep an eye on it.
Dangerfield on the burst. He'll kick long out towards O'Connor. It gets in front of Poulter, brings it down, roves himself. He'll kick long to half forward. Jones comes and puts a fist through it. Stanley trying to slap it on straight to Keith. Kicks a mongrel punt back to the wing, and there is Buse for the Cats. Marking virtually on the logo. Norton runs through the mark. Stewart ran around the back, and the umpire gives Norton a little bit of leniency. As Buse drives the Cats to half forward. Massive pack. Neil hands to it. Coming through Dale. Tackled quickly. All up. 48 metres out from the attacking goal. Here for the Cats. Dogs by 11.
Dogs for the only 3 goals of this final term. Chance for the Cats at half forward. Bowes. Hand pass is a turnover to Jones from the back 50. Kicks down the line. Or contest. Stewart from the back. Got upstairs. Couldn't complete the mark. Lob at ground level. Takes possession. Tackled to the ground by Guthrie. Will have a stoppage. Just inside the field of play between wing and half forward. Geelong into attack. They've got some work to do. They trail the Dogs by 11 points.
Umpire puts it up. Conway slaps it down to Parfitt. Quick kick. Marked low down by Keith and right half back. This is a story. Aaron Norton already strapped. Seems to have hurt that left shoulder. Kick from Keith towards the logo. Massive pack in English. Juggling the mark. Takes it on the logo.
Kick short to Poulter, but doesn't hit the target as Stewart comes the other way, and big bump on Poulter. Meanwhile, Poulter's quick to his feet when the ball came to him. Couldn't take it cleanly, picked up by McLean. Gives it back to Poulter. Jams it on the left boot. It's a wobbly kick inside forward 50. Waitman caught behind, Buse in front. Hand pass couldn't find a target, picked up by Dempsey to Guthrie in the last line of defence for the Cats. Kick looking for Smith, couldn't find the target, picked up by Scott. Gives it to Bontempelli from 50 out. He skies it to a dangerous position. Ugelhagen and Waitman there. And Guthrie happy to knock it through and concede a rush behind. Margin back to 10 points, the way of... 10 points?
12.
12 points. The way of the Dogs.
Yeah, he was strewn everywhere.
Guthrie's
down. McLean was down. Poulter for a second before the ball came back his way. He popped to his feet. Stewart was on the ground for a little bit, but I think he just copped a bit of a slap in the face after knocking it through for a rush behind.
So Dogs by a couple of goals. Have Geelong got one last effort in them? Izzy Smith with a long kick up the middle. Neil launching at the footy. Down in front for Atkins. Cats at halfback. Mullen, slick to Dangerfield. Slick to Atkins. Long kick to half forward. Henry and Jones. Bad bounce for Jones, but he still gets there first. Handball back into the corridor for the Dogs, and Bontempelli. He'll send it out to the Hickey stand wing. Mark taken by Baker.
Tend to hold it up. Try and spot a target. Protect this 2-goal lead. His kick is over the head of Dale. Has time to pick it up close to the boundary. Just gets the kick away, but Jasny in the right position. Takes the intercepting grab at half-back. Wants to use the corridor. The kick out to be perfect, and it was to Atkins, who's marked at centre-half-back just inside the centre square. Chips it forward to Menangola. Gets the applause from his home fans in his final game. Gives it to Izzy Smith, also retiring. A high kick towards half forward to a pack. Gets out the back and tumbles inside forward 50 for the Cats. O'Donnell is there for the Dogs. Corralled close to the boundary line. Pokes the kick down the line to Crozier, who takes a strong mark in front of Mullen.
Crozier at right half back. Dogs out by 2 goals neat. Crozier a low ball around the wing, looking for Scott. He's able to take the mark. Aaron Norton looking sore on the bench. Scott will kick to half forward. Ugelhagen in from the side. He marks overhead. Now he looks towards Waitman in the pocket, sends it in that direction, overshoots him. And Kolajasny fists it out, throw in right forward pocket here for the Dogs.
Sorry, Jess. I was going to say Jamara Ugelhagen, just really quiet first half. Slowly worked his way into the game and just having an impact. Obviously with Norton off now, it's over to him as that key forward.
Ball back into play from the ball in. Menangola is clearing kick towards half back. Richards comes out, couldn't complete the mark. Spills to Poulter, he couldn't take it cleanly. Picked up by Closey, the debutant. Gives it to Myers, to Menangola. His hand pass misses Guthrie. And now it's a turnover. Scott to Chalor. Hacks a kick around the corner, inside forward. 50 to a pack. Bontempelli in front position, could have come down with it. Spills away of Atkins for the Cats. Lovely kick. Finds the first gamer and close to the line. Couldn't complete the mark. Has time to regather. An aggressive kick into the centre of the ground as Guthrie takes a big mark over Chalor.
Just reached over him, gives it off to Menangola. Run down by Poulter. Just gets a kick away. And now the Cats back the other way. Here's McNeil, the sub, into the game. Kicks out towards the wing and Baker can mark. Baker will drive it long inside 50, looking for Ugelhagen. Juggling and marking miraculously. He almost juggled it around to Koning. And he comes down with the footy. 40 out, 45-degree angle.
These people just falling over everywhere. It's quite hectic. It's a bit of turnover, mistake footy, played between the arcs. There's been a lot of clean, kind of free-flowing footy that are able to finish off the job with their disposal inside 50. But Jamara, we highlighted coming into this second half and third quarter, Bally. This is his moment.
Jamara comes in on the left from 45 out. The kick is good. And the Dogs have just about done their bit. They're out by 18. 17 into the fourth. Luke Ball and Brendan Goddard.
Oh, it's a good sign, isn't it, Beej? I mean, we know that. Sometimes you're having a down night, you're finding it tough, only 2 possessions in the first half, but he's stuck at it. He's just kept working. I thought he had some moments in that third quarter where he set up a goal, and that one now he gets his reward himself. So well done. It's a really good lesson from a young player who's come on in leaps and bounds this year. We know, prodigiously talented. In a funny way, Norton being off, and English comes back on now, but Norton being off, he's almost realised that he's the one. He's taken the responsibility.
Yeah, sign of maturity, isn't it?
It is, and that was just a contested mark against Sam De Koning. So
I think
really well done.
Even early in the year, if he'd started a game like he did the first 3 quarters, I think he would have finished the game like that. Yep. So just a self-awareness and...
A much-needed clearance from Geelong out of the middle as Parker bangs it forward to a big pack at centre-half forward as Neil crashes the pack and takes out a few. Ball in dispute at centre-half forward, coming through West. He couldn't get a possession away. Stanley coughs it up to Richards, to Bontempelli, to McLean, back to Bontempelli. Long kick up towards half forward, through the hands of Stewart, but does really well at ground level to take possession again. Palms off Stewart, then hand passes to Buse, to Mullen, now to Closey. His hand pass, a little too hot for Smith, and now it's a turnover as Keith gives it to West, to Chalor and Bontempelli, and now to Williams, and they can reload off half-back the Dogs.
Gives it off to Treloar. He'll tumble a kick to the wing. McLean gathers on the bounce. Chips the ball forward to Scott.
Everyone's cooked.
Aren't they? Yeah, there's quicksand everywhere out there.
Scott at high left half forward. Dogs leading by 3 goals. Scott long into the pocket. Norton going up and bringing it down. A contested mark in the left forward pocket. Worse than a 45-degree angle. He'll surely seal it if he can kick the goal.
Shoulder looked okay there, didn't it? Good test for it. He's looked lively, I reckon, Beej. He looked, right from the first quarter, kicked 2 goals. He's looked dangerous all night.
Only goalless once this year. Norton's set shot on goal. He's missing left. He does have one tonight, for what it's worth as well.
Is it a handy point yet?
Well, it does make it 4 scores, so 19 points. The advantage to the Dogs.
Cats bring the ball back in. Holmes in the back pocket towards the wing. Off hands and out of bounds for a throw-in. Geelong are just limping to the finish line.
Yeah.
Menangola and Kolajasny both off the ground in the hands of the trainers at the moment.
Saw the Saints really run them into the ground last week, the Cats, and sort of looks like it's happening again tonight.
They're led by 8 points at 3-quarter time. Haven't scored yet in this final quarter.
14-3 inside 50s.
From the boundary throw in, Dale's kick is a turnover. Guthrie takes the intercept and grab it left half back for Geelong. They need to get a wriggle on. 20 minutes gone now in this final quarter. They trail the Dogs by 19. Guthrie back down the line to a one-on-one. Lob in position A. Takes the intercept and grab for the Dogs.
Kick around the wing, and Ugle-Hagan in a little bit of space just forward of the wing. Handball to Poulter. He'll chip it over the top. Trelaw mark at right half forward. He'll go short, and the mark taken by Liberatore. He'll chip into the pocket, and Ugle-Hagan juggles it.
They've checked out Geelong. It's just like that. Ugle-Hagan actually had a plethora of space here just originally when he got that first one, and then a lack of communication for Geelong defenders, which you don't see too often. They've played a lot of footy together. There's only a couple of kind of younger, inexperienced players in there, you could say, in comparison to the rest of them, but just lack of teamwork, ability to find them.
Ugle-Hagan, he misses the lot. Tugs it badly out of bounds on the full. $19 points. The Bulldogs' advantage. They're going to put themselves in position to potentially play finals. They're coning a kick out to the wing for the Cats. Over the head of the pack it goes. Norton onto it. Stripped of it in a tackle. Holding the ball. And the free kick will go to O'Connor. So the season, or the 8 at least, will be live. Heading into the final game of the season. O'Connor kicks into the middle of the ground. Smith going up. Unable to mark. Dangerfield scrapping after it still. And we're going to get a ball up in the middle of the ground. 22 minutes and change into the fourth. Lob slapping it down. Straight to Bowes, and then a clearing kick coming from Smith towards half forward. And lots of players pile on for a ball up. Dogs by 19. 22 and a half minutes into the fourth. Jay Kolajasny down in the room and down in the rooms.
Concussion, is it?
Yeah, doesn't look overly well. As the Dogs emerge with it, here's Poulter kicking into the pocket for a leading Norton. Tumbles in front of him, out of play, throwing in the pocket. Right forward pocket for the Dogs.
It's missing from the Dogs' best team. Wish them without notice, Benny. Ponder in the last 5 minutes here. We're just assuming that they're going to hang on and win this and look ahead to potentially 2 weeks' time.
Bailey Smith isn't there tonight. Jack McRae. Taylor Giray. Ugle-Hagan picks it up from the throw-in. Handball away to Poulter. Handball towards Bontempelli. Aaron. And gathered by Holmes for the Cats. A kick out to the wing off the hands of Buse, and throw in beneath the Hickey stand wing, and Bontempelli a little sore.
No, I think he's all right.
Both teams would probably be okay if the bell went now. Like Poulter's game tonight, he's certainly staked his claim for a spot should they get there in 2 weeks' time. 17 possessions, 4 inside 50s and a goal.
Oh, we've had a head clash here. Anthony Scott has copped one right around the chops and looks a little worse for wear at the moment. Laying on the Reg Hickey stand wing. Lacey, the debutant, fluttering into him.
Hard heads from the kids down here at Geelong.
Cats do have hard heads.
You stole a punchline, mate.
Sorry. So, and trot off the white towel around the chops. Yeah, cut around the ear for Anthony Scott. Dogs by 19 points. Elsewhere, it's the Eagles by a point over the Adelaide Crows in the third term. You know the wooden spoon may rest on that game. Umpire puts it aloft. English knocking it down. Swatted away there by McLean. Liberatore close to the boundary line. Gathers, kicks inside 50. Lob! Incredible! He looked like Superman in a Western Bulldogs jumper.
Lobbed it to him.
He was floating through the air, stretched out, taking the mark. The left forward pocket here for the Bulldogs.
This will be his third, and what a second half he's had. This will be his 10th possession, 6 of those contested, 6 marks.
He's been the man who's made it happen. Rory Love, this is why they got into the club. Bulldogs by 25 points. Now putting the ball firmly in the Giants' court. 15-8, 98 plays, 10-13, 73. 26 minutes into the fourth.
No, we're looking ahead. Is it too much to say that he's arguably been best on ground?
Certainly in the second half.
If it's in the second half.
Yeah, as influential as anyone. Yeah, it was a bold move, wasn't it? We had to start him in the centre bounce, but...
These are the questions that were asked at the start of the year, recruiting of him, is that clearly, I think on face value, it was, is he going to play kind of second string to English in the ruck? And he hasn't, right? He's like... I've seen his ability in there in the past. He spent more time in there, I think, at GWS. Freo was more of a permanent forward, but, you know...
But with Norton and Ugle-Hagel, you know, merging, maybe the balance of the ruck needs to just shift a bit in his favour. Maybe English, maybe it's more of a 70-30.
5 goal to zip. Final term, the way of the Dogs. The Cats out of the middle. A kick into the forward pocket here from Smith. Slapping it down, Ollie Henry. Live footy. Gathered by Richards. Dumps it on his boot. Kicks beyond the defensive arc. And the mark taken by Baker.
Another great game from Ed Richards.
Yeah,
he's been super. Yeah, 29 possessions, 9 of those intercept possessions. Haven't scored this quarter, the Cats, so really impressive from the Dogs here.
27 minutes into the fourth term. Long kick up the wing from Baker and lob again. Takes the mark just forward of the wing. Western side of the ground.
It's like Paul Salmon in his prime now in the second half.
Drives the Dogs inside 50. Up goes Norton. He marks 40 out. Slight angle right-hand side. And it's all red, white and blue at the moment.
Well, what a promising finish. I mean, we know they're not going to, if they do get there, they're not going to hit it in their best of form. But even just this last quarter, their aerial power, they're going to worry whoever they come up against. It's been Lobb, it's been Ugle-Hagen, contested marking, and Aaron Norton, who we know is one of the best contested marks in the competition.
Sometimes this is the issue. Not here, reflexes to the crowd. The Western Bulldogs out by 31 points, a 6 goal to zip. Final term means the Giants will have to win tomorrow if they want to play finals GWS. Otherwise, it'll be the Dogs.
As expected, let's be honest, I know Geelong have been quite gallant in the first 3 quarters, and Bulldogs, up until really half-time, were kind of lacklustre, flat.
Sloppy with their skills.
Sloppy. Geelong just looked really efficient, looked really dangerous every time they touched the footy, and then just obviously addressed a couple of issues that offended a lot better here in the second half, slowed Geelong down, stopped the uncontested mark, Geelong getting back through the corridor, getting it, switching it to the open side. So some pretty kind of clear messaging at half-time by the looks of it. Really resonated with the group and they've acted on it.
Stewart at half-back for the Cats, kicks long to half-forward, and Crozier.
Been good too, Crozier.
Comes in from the side to mark.
An underrated player for them. Hasn't played a heap of footy this year, but I think he's reasonably important in their best team.
Kicks laterally to Caleb Daniel, who goes short to Bailey Williams. Came up against his namesake last week. Kicks long towards the wing. Up goes Norton off hands. Out of play. Lobb launching at the footy again. He's everywhere at the moment. Still the Eagles by a point. We'll take you to that game at the conclusion of this one. We'll check in quickly with the Dogs and get a wrap and then send you over to that. Umpire flings it in. English slapping it down towards West. Now shoveling out a handball English. Away towards Liberatore on the wing. Back to Waitman. Spirals a kick inside 50. Launching at it. Ugelhagen doesn't mark. Cuts at the 4. Bowes away to Zach Guthrie. Back to Izzy Smith. Potentially last touch of the Sharon in AFL footy for Izzy Smith. And gives it off short to Bowes. He gives it to Zach Guthrie and back to Izzy Smith. He'll get another one. He kicks into the middle of Cardinia Park. Loose footy onto it. Stanley for the Cats. Off to Myers. Stengel out the back. Jones getting back. Slaps it away. Stengel keeps it alive. Out in front of himself. Still going in the pocket. Gathers. Runs an arc. Snaps a clever goal.
It's pretty good.
Wily little small forward. Outsmarts the big key defender for a consolation goal.
I think Brian Myers going to extend his lead for goals assist there.
Count, you reckon?
Yeah, just beyond his kind of penetration and length.
Score involvement, but not a goal assist.
But Izzy Smith getting involved, you may mention, deep in their back half for Geelong, and then links up a couple of times, kicked the old wounded duck in the middle of the ground, just hoping for the best, and it turned out well. Falling short, a couple of kind of made it up along their way. Reece Stanley getting the ball, giving it to Brian Myers, and then a kick over the back, not quite getting there. Liam Jones getting a fist on it as soon as the ball hit the ground. He had his work cut out trying to catch Stengel. Fleet-footed.
Smith here, can he sneak forward? Him and Menegola both starting in the centre bounce, their last centre bounce. Sneak forward and try and snag one.
Bulldogs by 25 points. English rising high in the middle, slapping the ball down. It ricochets back to him. It's involved again. McLean for the Dogs. Handball out to West. West on the left. Kicks a shallow inside 50 for the Dogs. Bounces out the back. O'Connor onto it. Handball away towards De Koning. He'll kick out to the wing. Daniel going up, halving the contest, and a throw in beneath the Reg Hickey stand. Mike Beveridge down on the boundary. Sure will be a happy and relieved man, but we'll still have to wait. Will Bontempelli be in the votes? That'll be a good question. It'll be important on Brownlow medal night. Menegola, long kick to half forward. Stengel coming up at the footy. O'Donnell there to mop up for the Dogs. Handball to Jones. Handball away to Crozier and out of play. A throw in. 16-8, 104, plays 11-13, 79. Dogs leading by 25. .33 minutes played in the fourth. Umpire spins it in. Off the hands of Conway. West onto it. The Dogs do their bit. They're back in the 8 for now at least. Over to you, GWS. So the Dogs win by 25 points. 16-8, 104, plays 11-13, 79. They trailed, well, they led by 2 points at quarter time. They trailed by 15 at the half and 8 at three-quarter time, but they kicked 6 unanswered goals to start the final term. They also kicked 3 goals in 3 minutes to start the third and 3 goals in 5 minutes to start the fourth to win by 25, as I said. So the Western Bulldogs are in the 8. But GWS can win tomorrow and remove them. Luke Ball, Brendan Goddard, what did we see here tonight?
Well, a game of two halves, really, as BJ summarised there. Well, let's start with the last part of that and just the impressive way with which the Dogs were able to run out that game. They faced a question, really, didn't they, at half-time, and they moved a few magnets around, but really it was around the intent and the work rate that got them back into the game originally, and then it allowed them to really run over the Cats in that last quarter. And 6 goals, 3 to 1 goal. Sometimes you just need to finish off a game like that full of running, and you can carry that confidence forward into next week. If they get there in 2 weeks' time, we know there's still one or two things that need to play out with the game tomorrow, but they can take a lot of confidence with the way they're able to run that game out in the last quarter. I thought their midfielders were just superb. Treloar, Liberatore and Bontempelli, especially in that second half when the game was there to be won. I loved Ed Richards' game across the 4 quarters. He's had a superb year. He can look forward to hopefully playing in a final series in 2 weeks' time. And then their big guys who struggled a bit, at times throughout the night. I thought Norton looked dangerous early, 2 goals in the first quarter. Ugle-Hagan was rarely sighted in that first half, but it was lob into the centre bounce that really got them going and started in that second half in particular, out of the centre bounce, got them back in the game, just snapped them out of that malaise a little bit. I thought that was a really telling move and something that they'll need to think about if they get through in 2 weeks' time in terms of that balance between English and Lobb and potentially giving Lobb a bit more time on the ball. And then Ugle-Hagan and Norton, stood tall towards the end there. So really impressed with the Dogs. The question marks were well and truly there at half-time, but they answered the challenge. And the Cats were plucky, Beach. You said before, obviously with the players out, still plenty to play for. As we listen to them now, listen to Paddy Dangerfield talking and thanking the fans, and also saying a big thanks to 2 premiership players in Isaac Smith and Sam Menegola, who played their last game for the club tonight. They blooded a lot of young players. Thought Brandon Parford played his best game for the club. Isaac Smith was great in his last game. I thought Tom Atkins tried his backside off as he usually does, and Tom Stewart was clearly their best player. He was magnificent. 15 intercept possessions for Stewart. They were brave. They had a crack. I thought they brought their effort early. They absolutely out-tackled and out-hunted the Dogs and forced them into error in that first half, but just ran out of gas. We saw it last week against the Saints. They ran them into the ground, the Saints, and we saw it happen again tonight. So that puts a full stop on the Cats campaign for this year. They missed the finals, which we know is a rarity for them. But I think there's a few players in that team, and even as a club, a decent longer break where they can take a deep breath, lick their wounds, and have a proper break. I don't think that'll hurt them in the long run either.
Both teams just heading over to right beneath us, the former guard of honour, Isaac Smith. He's going to make his way off. 280 games, a 4-time premiership player, 210 games at the Hawks, 68 at Geelong, or 69 with today. Maths doesn't add up. It's actually 70.
I think we're okay with this guard of honour, aren't we?
Yeah. Norm Smith medalist.
Yeah,
4-time premiership player.
280.
Yeah.
Sam Menegola a part of it as well.
He was good tonight, wasn't he? We spoke about the fact that he would have used tonight as a bit of a statement that, I'm assuming anyway, that he still feels like he's got a fair bit of footy left in him, but his time at the Cats comes to an end.
Kiss to both of their partners, and they'll walk off the ground. The Western Bulldogs will be relieved as they leave the ground. Hayden Crozier going over and giving a hug to Simon Lloyd. They were together at Fremantle. Bontempelli and Dangerfield sharing an embrace, and well, maybe Bontempelli will be joining a club that Patrick Dangerfield is a part of as a Brownlow medalist in a few Mondays' time. Who knows? Tonight might be important. 31.
Yeah, not sure he sneaks in the votes tonight. Pretty even. A lot of contributors. You never know though.
There goes Isaac Smith. Sam Menegola trailing him. And the Cats, after both of them, down into the rooms. Their season over for just the second time in 17 years. The Cats won't play finals, so a unique feeling down in the rooms tonight for them. The Bulldogs milling about out on the ground. A reminder that once we're done here, we do want to get a reaction out of the Dogs tonight. It is important before we send you out west, but the lead has swung there. So the Crows leading by 7 points over the West Coast Eagles late in the third term in that fixture. Just repeating, the Bulldogs winning by 25 points, 16-8, 104, plays 11-13, 79. The goal kickers, Rory Lobb with 3, changed the game after half-time. Aaron Norton with 3, Treloar with a couple, Waitman with a couple, English with a couple, singles to Liberatore, to Vandermeer and to Poulter, while for Geelong, Ollie Henry with 3, singles to Smith. And being Isaac Smith in his farewell game, Tyson Stengel, Ollie Dempsey, Myers, Neal and Dangerfield. Just on the performance of Rory Lobb, changed the game when he moved into the ruck after half-time, didn't he, Bawley? He was slow to get going and then just absolutely was able to get this game on the Dogs' terms.
Yeah, he was terrific. He was, he had the hair, as I said, he had the hair back to the natural colour, which I like. It's a little thing, but I do like it. And
very important.
And it's fascinating, not only for tonight, but it gives, and again, if they progress and get through in 2 weeks' time, it gives them a bit more food for thought, because for so long, I mean, all year, and we think that Timmy Hush has probably done enough to secure his first All-Australian blazer in the ruck. And
Ray Marshall might have something to say.
Yeah, maybe. Well, there might be room for both of them. He'll certainly be in the 40, and we know that he's, he's the sort of ruckman that thrives on the workload and playing a high percentage in the ruck. But they've got Rory Lobb over from Perth, high prize recruit, and reasonable money, like we know. And I don't know what the splits are, but I can't imagine.
Tonight,
up to this point, I can't imagine he's played any more than 10% in the ruck. Yeah. Whereas tonight, in that second half, he was 80% ruck.
Yeah, and so it might be like tonight be a 60-40 split or something.
Yeah. So it might be something they have to. I mean, it's been a long campaign, and maybe Timmy Hush is just feeling the effects. He's got a lot of miles on the clock, and maybe a week off for him will freshen him up. But I think they need to really consider how they use Rory Lobb. If they get through as a weapon, and not just him, but we saw the longer that game went on, the aerial power, the aerial strength of this Bulldogs team with Ugle-Hagan and Norton and the two big boys, English and Lobb. How can they best utilise that if they get through, and if they play probably Carlton, if they do, how can they best utilise that against the Carlton defence and a Carlton ruck division that we know isn't a real strength of theirs?
Well, you still got two kind of recognised ruckmen now, isn't it, with Pitnet and De Koning. Yeah. So, but yeah, I think what it provides is, like we've seen in the past, Bawley, just I think being a part of teams when tall forwards are struggling a bit, that have the ability to go on the ruck, but the ruck's almost like they're a bit of an escapism of kind of being trapped as a forward, and if even the team's not going well, but it's your ability just to get up in the game and, one, kind of run freely and have kind of a free reign of where you run, and two, just to be involved in more contests. So I know that at different stages they've thrown the kind of the bone to Lobb, pun intended, but at different stages. But I think tonight was kind of almost like a light bulb moment that this kind of can work, and English can actually play as a key forward alongside Norton and Jamara.
Let's go into the Western Bulldogs rooms, and Jess Webster is down there awaiting them.
Yes, they've been led into the rooms by Marcus Bontempelli. Had a massive smile on his face as he led the troops in. And they're gathering around into the circle. They've got to move a trestle table out of the way first. It's got a few bottles of sports drink on it, but now they've linked arm in arm here. 1 foot in the finals door. Let's have a listen to the song. The Dogs' first win down here at Cardinia Park in 30 years, Ben, and they'll certainly enjoy this one.
Absolutely they will. We'll come back down in a moment to check in with the Western Bulldogs after this win that Could see them back in the finals. That remains to be seen. GWS tomorrow. If they win, they're in. If they don't, the Western Bulldogs will have a role to play in September. Where do we stand on what the Dogs can do and where they're at the moment? Are they a team that can catch fire and make a run? We've seen it a few times from them under Luke Beveridge. They start a magic carpet ride, but can they do it again?
Short answer, not on current form, no. Again, I like the way they finished tonight. And they do have, and this is the frustration that everyone's talking about, that they do have enough star power. I don't think they have enough strength across the ground and contributors across the ground. I need those players back. I still think they probably rely a little bit on too few. But the centre square bounce, let's say it's Carlton. It's going to be a fascinating matchup, isn't it? They've got weapons forward and they've got weapons in the middle of the ground that can really test out any opposition.
Ben Cameron alongside Luke Ball and Brendan Goddard with you here on Grandstand AFL. Let's go back to Jess Webster in the rooms.
Thanks, Ben. Here with Hayden Crozier after what was a really important win. It's an understatement of the century, that one. But what are the thoughts going through your head at the moment, knowing you've got a really big game to watch tomorrow to decide your finals fate?
Yeah, it's going to be a tough watch. Obviously, it wasn't ideal that we put ourselves in this position, but all we could do tonight was come out and try to put in a four-quarter performance. It was a bit of a scratchy first half. I think we just overused our hands a little bit and we weren't clean with our ball use, but after that I think we really cleaned it up and it was a good performance in the end.
You've had to fight your way to get back into this side. How much did you enjoy running out there with the boys tonight?
Yeah, absolutely loved it. I missed it a little bit, to be honest with you. It's been a bit of a frustrating probably last 18 months with my body and some injuries, and felt like I was playing some pretty good VFL footy, so really happy to get my opportunity and just contribute a little bit. It's good.
And talk to us about the contest tonight. It was a game that had a lot of momentum shifts and then you managed to really open the floodgates in that final quarter. What do you put that down to?
Yeah, we did. I mean, Geelong's a quality outfit. I know they had a lot of outs, but they've got it's a testament to their depth at their team. And, their midfield were really on top in the first half, and I thought our boys really fought our way back into it. They got some class all over the park in all three lines, so we knew it was going to be tough regardless of the guys they had out. I'm just really proud the boys really put the foot on the gas in the last quarter.
I'll take you straight upstairs to our Grandstand AFL experts, Luke Ball and Brendan Goddard.
Yeah, hey, Brendan Goddard, mate. Well done tonight and giving yourself a chance, obviously. But just moving ahead to tomorrow, as we've seen in the past, teams get together and watch with a bit of angst, I guess, the boys getting together and watching the game.
Yeah, I think so. We haven't spoken about it, obviously, yet.
Don't have to give us a location, obviously.
I'm sure we'll probably speak about it in Bevo's post-match after this, but haven't spoken about it yet, but I'm sure we'll get together and have a watch.
And just after half-time, we made mention up here, it's kind of a tale of two halves, and you just made mention a little bit scratchy in the first half, but I think what was evident after half-time was your ability just to defend and then slow Geelong down, just force them into long kick down the line or dump the footy. There was less switching of the ball. That looked like you guys were protecting the corridor really well. Was that a key focus in the second half?
Yeah, definitely. I mean, they put a few numbers up at the ball, and they've got great runners in the midfield and high half forwards as well, so they really get it out in transition and try to spread the ground. So we found it challenging in the first half to really contain the ball and force them to go down the line, but as you said, after half time I thought we slowed them up a lot and we were in a good position behind the ball to be able to intercept.
Hayden, we were just talking before you joined us about the move just after half-time of Rory Lobb in the centre bounce, and the man who most have inked in as the All-Australian ruckman started in the goal square. Can you take us into the rooms a bit about that move and what a great move it was, and we were saying that Rory's second half was just superb.
Yeah, he was fantastic tonight. We know obviously Chile, it's going to be tough when he goes one out for the whole game, so we need guys to come in and fill that role and allow Timmy to have a bit of a break up forward, and Lobby came in. I thought he was outstanding tonight, and Chile did some great things too, so yeah, really proud of the boys all around.
You mentioned you're disappointed. You put yourself in this spot, but what's done is done. You can't do anything about that now, and in your last quarter you really ran them into the ground, 6 goals 3 to 1 goal, so you must take confidence out of that quarter. If you get your opportunity in 2 weeks' time, you can carry that momentum through to whoever you play against.
Yeah, absolutely. I felt like that last quarter was the Bulldog brand of footy, and as we mentioned before, it's been a tough last couple of weeks. We've struggled a little bit, but I thought tonight, especially after halftime, that's the way we want to play. We want to be able to slow the opposition down a bit, be able to attack off the half-back line, use the ball clean and tight. Saw Liver's hands again tonight, obviously fantastic, and Bont does Bont things as usual, so that was great. And obviously the forwards competing really hard. I think Bevo spoke about it three-quarter time. I think Cody had 6 tackles in the third quarter, so that forward half pressure was fantastic in the second half, and that really drove it for us.
Hayden, it's Ben here. Good to speak to you again. Down 8 points at three-quarter time. How nervous did you get? Did you start to think about, oh no, surely not?
No, I don't think so. I think Bevo just spoke about three-quarter time. Let's go out and enjoy it. Let's really take the stress away from it and just try and play our brand of footy, and whatever happens, happens. And I think that the boys really attacked, obviously, that first minute or two and got a couple of goals on the board, which was nice, and we were able to continue the momentum for the rest of it. But, yeah, really pleased again for the boys' efforts tonight, and, it's going to be a bit of a nervy wait tomorrow.
There's been some suggestions in some quarters of the media that the group isn't overly happy. Has that been your experience, Hayden?
No, not at all. I mean, we're obviously not happy with the way we've been playing. That's probably first and foremost. But this is such a tight-knit group, players and coaches as well. It's a great place to come to work every day. I know, as I said, we've had our struggles the last couple of weeks, but everything's been really positive at the club, and training's been up, the vibe's been really good, and I'm just pleased that we came out tonight and got the job done.
One thing the Western Bulldogs have been able to do is go on runs, sort of magic carpet rides under Luke Beveridge. Why do you think you can do that again this year?
I think just the belief within the group. I know we're capable of doing some great things, and we just need more of that consistency throughout the 4 quarters to be really be able to do that in finals if we're able to get there, obviously. So we just got a lot of self-belief, and we know we're really capable, and we've got great players in all 3 lines across the ground that can get the job done.
Hayden Crozier, always great to hear from you. Best of luck for tomorrow when you're watching, and also hopefully for the finals. Thanks for the chat.
Appreciate it. Thanks, guys.
There is Hayden Crozier.
I think he's an important player.
Yeah, so do I.
Yeah, I think he's across the half-back line there. I think he's an important player.
Now, there are some big things taking place at Perth Stadium. We've got about 2 minutes to wrap this up because we're going to head to West Coast and Adelaide. In that game, Adelaide are out by 19 points. So West Coast will finish bottom. Walker has 7 goals, 3 to move to 74. Just 1 behind Charlie Curnow.
I'd love him to just get in front to at least make Curnow have to work for it tomorrow.
All right, I need the votes. Who's doing the votes?
BJ.
Me.
All right, who have you got for us,
Won't mess around. 1, Ed Richards. Started the game well. First half, he was providing the bounce, the run off half-back. Had a great second half of the year since coming back from a serious hamstring injury. 2 votes. Called him James Stewart, Tom Stewart. He's... Again, I'm a big stats man, but particularly in that first half, continually
15 intercept possessions.
Getting the game on his terms, getting in good positions like he always does. 15 intercept possession, that's a big night. And 3 votes. And man, we talked about a couple of special mentions too. The Rory Lobbs game in the second half, I think he had a massive... It was kind of a turning point. But Libba.
Yeah.
Yeah. From go to woe though, his work inside, his ability to get the ball outside. Looked like Atkins was putting a bit of work into him early, but his ability to fight through that and have a huge impact on the ground. Bontempelli played a great game. Chalor, they throw a number of guys in there, but Isaac Smith in his last 36 touches, 910 metres gained.
Well, I rarely do this. I wish we had more time. I would have liked to have argued for my man Rory Lobb, whether he could have fit in the vote somewhere.
I asked the question.
I know.
I asked the question off air.
I know.
Not
okay.
quite.
All right.
Nice
Thought about one.
We've got to go. BJ, Borley, thank you to you, to Jess Stewart, to Andrea back in the studio, Stu Birchmore, our tech extraordinaire. I'd already written in Rory Lobb for 3.
3.
BJ
Sneaking for 1
to
and you've got him 3.
We've got to head to Perth Stadium
as well.
Pardon? No, I didn't.
Jess Stewart.
Sorry, Jess Webster. We've got to head to West Coast and Adelaide. That's where we're going now. Good night.
Welcome our listeners. Joining us from Victoria, Tasmania and the Northern Territory. Welcome here towards Perth Stadium. Good to have your company. Real battle on here. The Crows 13-17-95 to the Eagles 12-5-77 as Rankin for the Crows spins. But from right half forward puts it down the throat of Hoff, who then turns it over. It's there towards Smith, who marks. He pops it forward to Rochelle, and he marks in the right forward pocket. While the game itself and the 4 points must be the major discussion, along with other narratives about the futures of Adam Simpson and the farewell of two Eagles greats playing in Luke Shuey and Shannon Hearn, with Nick Natanui also retiring, but he's, of course, unavailable to play. The other main storyline tonight has been the Crows and their desperate attempts to get the ball to Taylor Walker at every opportunity. He currently has 7 goals. More on that in a moment. As Rochelle, in from the right forward pocket, has put it through for his third. Very important goal for the Adelaide Crows, and it sees their lead now stretched to 24 points. 14-17, 101 to West Coast, 12-5-77. Walker went into this game 8 behind Charlie Curnow in the race for the Coleman medal. He is now just 1 behind him with his 7 goals. Curnow, of course, playing tomorrow. But Adelaide have done absolutely everything they can do to feed Tex Walker tonight. We'll hear more from Bridget Lacey in a second. Shane Woden, Sharad Wellingham, your thoughts?
And if you had a little bit of composure first, in the first quarter, he's probably got that already.
And then you don't wish ill on anybody, but you hope that Curnow doesn't do a hammy in the warm-up or something, and then...
It's shades of Fev,
Yeah.
Isn't it? Carlton trying to feed him 8 goals to get that 100th goal. Getting very close. He's one off, as we say, catching Charlie Curnow. Ball back in the middle. Coming through was Shuey, taking it ground, and the Pedler tackle, ball up. Big punch forward by Williams. Fell in the hands, though, of Miller for the Crows. Sweeping handball wide to Worrell. Had a fumble. Almost coughed it up, but eventually got it to Crouch. His kick up the wing for Adelaide was straight to the chest of Brady Hoff. Gets a shove from Rankin. There's been a bit of back and forth between those two tonight. Not unusual to see Isaac Rankin getting involved in a little bit of push and shove. Petreski-Seaton has it at left half back for West Coast and shares it wide with Hunt. Hunt's kick up the wing to Long. Takes off, runs across half back. Long looping kick to Shannon Hearn. Has the ball inside defensive 50. Gets the cheers again. Retreats back to McGovern. West Coast waiting for an opening. McGovern's kick out wide. Finds the chest of Witherden. The Crows lead by 24 points. Almost 10 minutes played. 4th quarter. Kick up the wing looking for a target. Dawson floating across. Wanted to be paid the mark. He wasn't. The Crows have it back, and Saligo shares it with Murphy and gets it back.
Heads in the direction of Keys. He marks it right half forward. Turns. He wants Walker. Won't find him with that kick. Golan underneath it takes the mark. Between full forward and centre half forward. Where's Tex?
Luke Shuey standing next to him.
Shuey stood right next to him.
Don't even think about it, bud.
Yep.
Stay right there.
He's giving away a bit of height and weight, it must be said, Luke Shuey, in that battle, but he was absolutely determined that Tex wouldn't get a cheapie with this.
He's just following him.
He's all over it, isn't he?
Gallant back in the team this week for the Adelaide Crows. First AFL game since round 10. Has one already tonight. He'll kick from in line with the left hand goal post. He hits the right hand goal post from 30 metres out. Disappointing. 14-18, 102 the Crows. 12-5-77 the Eagles. It's a 25-point lead. 11 gone in the last on Grandstand AFL. Clint Wilton alongside Mitch Turner, our experts Sharad Wellingham and Shane Woden.
Shannon Hearn goes wide to the pocket, finds McGovern. The Eagles, there's nothing but pride to play for